nominations. She'll break the record for winning the most ever. Harry Styles, Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish are due to perform. British nominees include Dua Lipa and Disclosure. From Sky News, I'm Michael Worrell.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Hello everybody, welcome to you. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a blitzing week. Well, making the best of it as best you can. Ever on the optimistic side. That's how you got to be these days. Changes are coming. Better days lie ahead. Gonna make up for a relatively lost and quite awful year. So let's look forward with a smile and a grin and a cheeky giggle. Because tonight we're talking about a lot of things. First of all, happy Mother's Day if you happen to be a mother. And let's face it, we've all been called a mother at one time or another, haven't we? But I hope you've had a lovely day if you have. I hope you've been spoilt as much as you can be spoilt from a distance. Hope the flowers arrived or the bar of chocolate came through the letterbox. Just hope you had a nice time. However, quite happy to talk about what you've got up to on Mother's Day. That's not a problem. How did you get over the fact that you can't be with your people to cuddle them? And it is so easy. I'm a cuddler. I'm an embracer. Even if you meet a guy on the street who doesn't know you, if they say hello to me, I automatically either give them a hug, give them a handshake, and you cannot do that now. I understand. But I have been known to slip up. But no, you can't. Keep your distance. However, how have you got around the cuddly, kissy, holdy, handy, kissy on the cheeky for Mother's Day? How did you deal with that? Or did you say to Potch as me man? What did you do? Because that's potentially naughty. Well, we've all been naughty, haven't we? That's the thing. The main challenge this hour is actually quite different, though. Things you shouldn't see. There are certain things in life that you just should never see. Some while back, I was out taking a lovely country walk. It's a nice sunny day. It was a bit chilly, but nice, you know, blue sky, butterflies, all the flowers pert and encouraging. And as I was walking up the hill, I saw a tour bus had stopped at the end of a field, just in the road up ahead. Didn't think too much of it until I got to about 25, 30 feet from the coach, because I was looking over a hedge. And when you looked into the field, there was about 30 women of various ages, mainly the slightly older end, that had all got off the bus and were squatting, having a wee in the ditch behind the hedge. It was something that I wished that I hadn't seen. Truly, it is not attractive. And I'm sure one was winging at me. Anyway, things you shouldn't see. What kind of things have you seen that you really shouldn't have seen?
We knocked on a door on Wall's End. It was a little flat,
Right.
like a little bungalow thing.
Uh-huh.
And the old bloke came at the door, and again, about 82, and he says, just ignore the wife. Well, I thought she was pottering around, you know, still packing boxes, doing whatever.
Right.
And they were living on one floor, so what I thought was the sitting room door, you opened it.
Right.
And and I walked through. She's in this harness with the nurse washing her at head height with it all hanging out.
Oh, no.
So I didn't know where to look. You know, you look at the floor, I count the tiles, I look at the, anywhere, but it just says it's all right, son, when you get to my age, you just didn't care.
How wonderful is that? But things you wish you hadn't seen. Some people say that, when you go to the hospital, childbirth, you either get one or two things. You either get a dad that goes, I'm a bit queasy, I can't cope with that, even though it's the woman doing all the graft. Or you get the man that says, it was the most wonderful thing that I've ever seen. Peculiar things, dads at birth. If you've got any dads at a birth stories, love to hear it.
I was like either side of her, like either right side and left side, depending where midwives were flocking around her.
But not south end?
Nah, not right. Well, I had to walk around that way, but I never stood there.
Yeah, never look. Don't look down to look down. Honestly, the whole lot of things. And I know
it doesn't phase us. I mean, I also cut his cord in. I got a bit of splashback and all, but I'm not bothered.
Got a bit of splashback? Whoa! Things you don't want to see. For example, anything wriggling around your bum.
That actually put a camera up somebody's bum and they showed you these worms that were living in this man's bowel.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Oh, Alan, there was 4 pound in weight of them. 4 pound.
Living up his bum?
Yes, living up his bum. But they can't just give you an enema for them. They've got to actually take them out with this, it looked like a little spoon thing. Honestly, God. I mean, I was sitting and my cheeks were,
Oh, nipping.
Yes.
Oh, I bet they were nipping.
Oh.
That's probably why they can't get the worms out, because they're
yes.
nipping.
Dear me.
How about that? Whoa. Oh, but things you just shouldn't see. I want your story. Give us a call. Chris is waiting for you now. 0191 488 3188.
Little old people's house, just think, Nora Batty. It's got the old people's smell, it's got the old people's furniture. And I was moving the couch.
Right.
And as I moved the couch and looked behind it, there was a little pink rabbit. And I'm not on about, the one that eats carrots. So, at the time as well, I was only about 19. I was just, young and just coming to terms with that type of stuff and that.
Right.
I looked at the old woman, and by this point, I was bright red. My ears were burning. Every part of me's burning. And I says, "Excuse me, love." I says, "You might want to your things behind here." Well, what got me is she just looked at me and went, "Oh, I'm over the moon, you found that. I've been looking all over." She went across, she was kissing us, she was cuddling us, and I was mortified by this point.
If I'd have been there, I'd run it under a tap first, though.
I wasn't touching it. I said it was a time, though, it was, what we're talking, what? We're talking, 1995? So
oh, blimey, so this was just as they were starting to make themselves known to us.
On the up and up, on the pun.
How about that? So what kind of things have you seen that you wish you could unsee? Okay. Now, you see, to a lot of people, strippers, for example. Once in Amsterdam, a fellow presenter and I just happened to, purely by coincidence, we actually stumbled upon the red light district. And he said, "Have you ever been to a peep show, Alan?" And I said I hadn't. So he took me into an Amsterdam peep show, and it's a circle with little individual booths. And he said to the woman, "Go to cubicle 4, which is the one that I was in." So I had a naked woman writhing up against my window. And not having done that before, I started to become incredibly British. And I was saying, "Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're very lovely." It was, what a dork. I'm not going to tell you what he said until it gets a little bit later, but remind me later on and I'll tell you. But not everybody likes strippers, mate.
So this male stripper was really well built then?
I'll tell you what, it was down the length of it was touching his ankles.
Get away!
I'm not kidding you.
You're exaggifying.
No, I'm not. That's the honest truth. I tell you what, I wouldn't like it on my nose for the what. I'm telling you. It was absolutely huge. You couldn't get out with it.
There you go. So not everybody likes a stripper. What kind of things have you seen that you wish you hadn't seen? That's the key. Give us a call right now. 0191 488 3188. Boris Johnson has mentioned if things don't quite work out, there could be an extra 6 months lockdown from June. Really didn't want to hear that. Not when the rest of the world's talking. Ooh, by May, everybody will be inoculated. And a couple crushed their baby to death after sharing a bed when drunk. Oh, could there be anything worse than losing a child under those circumstances? We hear that some parts of Britain had a bit of snow, others had floods today for Mother's Day. Still want to know those Mother's Day stories, do tell. And catching your partner cheating. Somebody did that, it was in the press today, or the Sunday press, that a woman caught her man cheating after seeing him kissing his girlfriend on their doorbell video recorder. You know those doorbells that you can tell who's been knocking on the door and whatever? One of them. How did you catch your partner cheating? Do tell. Lots to talk about tonight. The police over the top with the Sarah Everard vigils. Talk about use a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Peaceable, kind folk. All with their own people to keep everybody separate and what have you, to keep it legal. Not happening, it seems. What's your view on that whole malarkey? A gang of Blythe teenagers allegedly chasing a cyclist and stabbing him. Chris Wilder leaves Sheffield United. Newcastle now a favourite for relegation. What do you think? Tell me everything. Neil's just said, I worked in a care home for 10 years. One of the old guys had passed away. Nobody bothered to pass this information on to me. I walked into his room and there he was, laid out on his bed with his mouth open. The image has stayed with me. Working in care homes, absolute respect to each and every one of you that has to do that. Sadly, Murray Walker dies aged 97. Everybody's tried an impression of him. If you're into that kind of motor racing, absolutely loving him. And Isaac thrilled with Sunderland's win at Wembley, finally breaking a 48-year curse. How about that? Well done, the Maccabees. Meghan Markle maybe wants to be president. I don't know whether you heard that story this weekend. And fashion. Also want to talk a bit about fashion tonight. I just saw somebody, it was a girl, she just had like a dress on, but with a big pair of Dr. Martens. And I thought, aren't Dr. Martens great? Love Dr. Martens, and some people customise them. Love Dr. Martens. What other items of clothing are worthy of an honourable mention on the Night Owls programme tonight? I was thinking Converse, quite like Converse. Cheesecloth shirts from the late 60s and 70s. They were cool. What styles have you rocked over the years? Give us a call, 0191. Maybe you've still got some. Still got your Afghan coat hanging up. Smells like a dog. 0191 488 3188. And ghosts, is your house really haunted? We did a bit of a ghost walk on Thursday gone. Every Thursday we're going to be doing something live out and about. Is your home really haunted? Should we be visiting you? 0191 488 3188. Let's get cracking. Oh, Uncle Arthur sent a bit of a story in as well. I'll see if I can find out what that is. But in the meantime, let's have a greatest hit to chew on while you lot pick up your telephone and get to those phones. Let's do it.
This is Real Life Conversation with the voice of the North.
This is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Call 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
You know, we're taking a look at a relatively light-hearted subject. We thought, what things do you wish you'd never seen? And we've been having a laugh at the expense of those kind of things. But some of the things we wish we hadn't seen are genuinely terrifying, and this is one of those that's just come in. Can't say who it's by. Please don't mention my name. I know who you are, though. Thank you for sending it. Alan, I had to go to court for this. I was working in a town centre club when a man got glassed. I was squirted head to foot in his blood, and the poor man was blinded. The police took me for questioning and left me in my blood-stained clothing. Horrendous. Absolutely horrific. Awful. And I mean, all for the sake of a night out, for heaven's sake. Oh, unbelievable. But thank you for sharing. Awful story. Things you wish you'd never seen. And hopefully a little bit later than that. Now, we're trying to get Arthur from Central Scotland on. Fingers crossed he'll come on soon. But we're starting off in Peterlee with Adrian. Hi, Adrian.
Hi, mate.
Hello, man. What's your story then?
So, a group of us were fishing at Eyemouth.
Right.
A place called the Cannons.
Right.
So we packed up, and there's two ways off the Cannons. You can either go back up the cliff to the campsite,
Gotcha.
or you can go left-hand over round the rocks.
Right. Uh-oh.
So we decided left-hand over round the rocks, and as we went round sort of the cliff face, there's a man standing naked on the rocks.
Right.
So we all sort of look at each other. We're about 30 yards away from him.
Right.
We're looking at him. He's looking at us. We get closer and closer. And when we're within 4 foot, he says, "All right, lads, any idea what time high tide is?" We just looked at each other and went, "Oh, we think it's about 4 o'clock." Put our heads down and just left. It was only later, weeks later, we sort of thought, was he doing a Reg Perrin? Was it Reg Perrin who left all his clothes on the beach?
And went off to that tried to kill himself, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, blame
Mad.
me.
Absolutely mad.
Was there any stories in the press after that? Or?
Not that we know of, but Peterlee, Eyemouth, you wouldn't really know.
Yeah. If something happened in north, well, it's Scotland, isn't it? So
yeah,
you wouldn't necessarily. Oh, blame me, what a thing! But because he was naked, you didn't want to look at him to start with. And I was
Absolutely
did he
naked.
not try to cover any bits up? Or he just
No.
Wow,
definitely not. Bizarre. One of the most bizarre things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was going to say, went fishing, but you nearly caught something you didn't know. Well, anyway, I mean, just the fact that he was in... What time was this?
This was dinner time.
Lunch.
This was 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Whether he was fishing himself, I don't know. He had his tackle out.
Right. So how far afield do you go fishing? That's a long way from Peterlee to go for a cod or a pollock.
It's quite a routine trip.
Wow.
Really.
Yeah. I like Eyemouth. I know the actual. It's not even a town really. Is it? The centre of Eyemouth's really small, and there's just that like little arcadey thing.
Yeah.
On the seafront, but either side of that, beautiful coastline, mate.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's great. So hey, well, thank you very much, Adrian. Great story to start us off with. Good man.
Right, well, no bother.
Thanks for calling. Bye. There you go, Adrian. Now, you see, do you think that might have just been a story from Adrian? You know, you either had to say, look, I've gone fishing in Scotland, or I go up to Scotland to meet this naked man on the rocks. You see, it's two ways you can look at that sucker, isn't it? 01914, well, sucker's not a very good word, but you know what I mean. 01914 3188, deflated. Misspoke already. Nicola is with us from Durham, and I think Nicola's been hunting for them ghosts. Let's see what she's been up to. Hi, Nicola.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. So what you been doing then?
Basically, I love going hunting for ghosts. I haven't been for a while.
Right.
But it was a few years ago, like we're talking about 14 years.
Oh, right.
We went to Beamish.
Right.
And I actually got a picture of a ghost.
Oh, wow. Actually in Beamish, the museum, or Beamish, the country house hotel next door?
In the museum.
Right.
We were in the wagon way.
All right.
There was just me and that other half.
Right.
And he took a photo, but we were like being silly and just saying, you know, is there anybody here?
All right.
And we got it developed because it was on a disposable camera.
Right.
And above my head in the carriage, there's no glass, and then there was just this like torso of like in a military uniform above my head. It was really strange.
Whoa. And also, because you used a disposable camera, they're not fiddleable, which is great. Great.
Yeah, it's really nice.
The weird thing about Beamish is, it's a good thing about Beamish, a lot of the buildings, were taken down from one place and totally rebuilt in the same place. But the thing that you're a ghost hunter, so you probably know this already. One of the most common ways that ghosts get started up, from a place that's relatively calm, is if you move around the energy of the place where they lived. Well, there's no bigger way of changing the energy than ripping a house down, carrying it, 50, 100, 200 miles, and then rebuilding it in a totally different place. So it doesn't surprise me that there's stuff moving about in there. And it's amazing anyway. Beamish is, it's an outstanding place, isn't it?
Yeah. I actually also saw a ghost where I used to work.
Where was that?
I used to work in the Lambton House in Petermead.
Right.
It's now a restaurant.
Right.
I used to work behind the bar.
Uh-huh.
And one night I was closing up, and it's got it's a cocktail bar from the Olympic ship.
Right.
It's the sister ship of the Titanic.
Uh-huh.
And I was just putting the drip trays away, and I looked up, and there's a guy stood at the end of the bar, and I'd looked up, there was no one in,
Yeah.
and he was stood there waiting for a drink. I looked away, looked back, and he'd gone.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, he just sort of leaned, looking, waiting for a drink. It was really weird.
So you'd be thinking, what's he doing in there? He should be out by now.
Yeah.
He must have been at the toilet or something, and he's trying to sneak a last one in before he goes home. What was he wearing? Or was he solid, or was he semi-see-through? Or?
Sort of semi-see-through, but he had a grey coat, and he had long dark hair.
Right. Wow. Well, stranger things have been known. People in pubs and what are now restaurants but used to be taverns or inns back in the day, most commonly they're the places where an awful lot of activity is. You'll know yourself, there's very few pubs anywhere that don't have a story of one sort or another, so just great to hear. Anything else then, darling?
No, that's all.
Lovely. Well, great hearing from you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Alan.
Great to catch you. Bye-bye. She's a ghost hunter. Well, we're going to be doing a lot more of that in weeks and months to come. Let's go to Hull. Things you wish you could unsee is Charlie's topic, so let's see what it was. Hi, Charlie. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Charlie's beep booping. Don't want any beep boops with Charlie, so I'm going to drop his call and hope we can get him later on. Now, something else you might want never to see, and that's a dog's glands round the back end. She's trying to empty her anal glands.
So the vet emptied them.
How many years do you go to college to do that? Oh. So what do they do? Just kind of aim the dog at something and squeeze? I mean, how did she do it? If somebody's sitting there right now eating a stew, I bet they've just pushed the dumpling to the side. Oh, that's horrible. Is that commonplace? Does everybody that has a dog have to go and get their anal glands emptied because they build up with gunk? Oh, terrifying thing. Anyway, let's dive across to our next caller, and it's Dave, who's in Shiremoor. Hiya, Dave.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, mate. What's your story tonight?
Yeah, it was just when I seen you on the live link the other night round the quayside.
Yeah.
I had an experience with a local ghost hunting company.
Right.
Which I think you know of. I think you've done a hunt with them yourself.
Uh-huh.
At Jarrow Hall.
All right, yes, absolutely. Nice people.
Yeah. Well, I've done a few hunts with them at the Littonfield Library in Central Station.
Right.
And it was my first ever real thing that sort of kind of happened to us properly.
Right. What was it then?
Well, down in the basement, and we're doing an experiment with a crystal.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, I started to laugh, and it wasn't sort of as if it wasn't me. It's quite hard to explain, but there was a story down there which I'm not going to tell because it will spoil it for others. But it felt like I had been taken over by something, as if not possessed, but it was something I couldn't explain, and I kind of went. Apparently, I was going to go for somebody in the group,
right?
And I had to stop. It was like an out-of-body experience.
So did you feel that you had any control or what?
No, I could. It was like I was out of my own body, and I could see what was happening and going on, but I had no control of what was actually going on. I mean, there's been a few things that have happened there, but that was like the main one.
But that's scary because you could have done anything then.
Yeah. Well, I think the team were quite terrified, to be honest. But,
was that the last time they invited you anywhere, was it?
Well, they kind of watch over us now, shall we say.
You got the handcuffs for him. We're all right. That's crazy.
But it was it was a very weird experience, but I can't really explain it.
The nearest thing that I've had to that is I'll tell you what I think it is, because I've been in places and I've felt an emotion. You know, like I've gone into a place and I felt almost like crying, and you think, I'm just in a dark room in a hall or a house. Why do I feel emotional for no apparent reason? On other occasions, I've felt absolute terror and almost like a stomach cramp. You know, as if you're so frightened that your whole stomach's just kind of contracted. I've felt those kind of things. Never been in a place where I felt like I'm out of control, because that would have been pretty scary.
Well, when we eventually the team got us out and we're having a chat about what had happened, because I couldn't really figure out what had happened to myself. I had to be told.
Yeah.
But the girl was absolutely terrified, and I was quite terrified, to be honest, the fact that had actually happened.
Do you think that something took you over? Is that what you rationalise it to be?
I'm not sure. It's one of them things where you've got to stand back and say, well, is it actually possible? Did that happen? Right. Or was it just something simple? Was there a simple explanation for it?
Well, like
I don't know. And it kind of draws you in more. You want to learn more.
Yeah, but the thing that you know is that you didn't have any control at the time, because if you had control, you could have corrected and said, don't be so silly, and crack on. But you physically couldn't change the thing. And that's cool. That's cool. I'm not surprised you're still interested in it. Do you still do them?
Yeah. So well, not at the moment, but obviously, I can't wait to get back to it.
Yeah, it's time. We're nearly there. We're close to being able to mix with 4 and 5. That's coming soon. Not quite yet, but it's coming soon. So hopefully that will allow a bit of flexibility in what you do, provided you stick to all the safety guidelines that you're supposed to as well. But hey, good luck to you.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you very much for coming on. Great to hear from you,
Thank
Dave.
you very much.
All the best, man. Bye-bye. Dave there. And the Lytton Phil, I've heard stories of that place. I'd love to go and visit it myself. It's one of those that's literally on the doorstep. It's like many things. We live on the doorstep of loads of places that we've never been. And we certainly shouldn't leave that too much longer. I'd love to partake in that one. So, we're off to Alex now, who's in Sunderland. Let's see what Alex is on about tonight. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. Hope you and your family are well. What's your story tonight?
I've got a pretty decent one about a Masonic temple in Sunderland.
Oh, are you of that sort?
No, but my dad is.
All right, okay, that's fine.
And his dad, so on and so on.
All right. Okay.
Anyway, there's a lodge in Sunderland called Queen Street.
Right.
It's the oldest purpose-built Masonic temple in the world.
Wow.
It was built in 1785, I believe.
Jeepers, that is early.
It's had some pretty famous people who visited it. Winston Churchill, King George V.
Wow.
The Queen's granddad, Edward VII, was one of the first members of the lodge.
How about that? That's incredible.
I know. I remember as a kid going with my dad to help out.
Right.
He was a chef there, so I used to go and help him.
Right.
Well, wash up, I would say. Bit of child labour, but there we go.
It's where everybody's going to start, man.
It certainly is. I'm still no better off. I remember entering the building, and immediately I would feel very sick and lightheaded.
Right.
And it was very, very sad. I would feel very sad while I was there.
Uh-huh.
You would enter the building and the lights would be turned on, bar taps would be pulled down, chairs would be pulled out from the table, just silly little games like that.
Yeah.
The kitchen...
It's interesting, they're all the same, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to go there and just experience it one more time.
Do they ever do any of that kind of thing, though? Or do they keep people who aren't Masons out of there?
I guess you can always ask.
Well, have a word with your dad.
I certainly will.
And you and I'll go there together, just us.
Absolutely.
Love
Brilliant.
that. Love it. Let's do it, guy. We're cutting the binds that hold us about the whole ghosty thing, so let's just do it.
Absolutely.
Love to. Have a word with your dad, anyway. The whole Freemason thing, how come he hasn't got you into it, though? I thought it was like family. You know, you mentioned your dad and your granddad and everybody.
Yeah, it's just not something I've really thought about.
Yeah. I would have thought he would have said you. I just thought you automatically. They said that to their kids, because my Uncle Jack was quite high up in the Masons, kind of Leamington way, and asked me dad to join, but my dad didn't like all that kind of stuff, so he kept away from it. But my Uncle Jack loved it. He was, as I say, he was quite high up. But
my brother's in there, but it's never really tickled me.
Right. Fair enough.
Too many
I mean,
stories.
it's easy to laugh at it, you know. With he's got a noose over his neck and his trouser leg rolled up. It's easy to laugh at those kind of things. But the bottom line is the amount of money they raise for charity every year is phenomenal. So if they want to have a private group that, because you see, people sometimes have a pop at Freemasons and they say things like, "Oh, but they help each other get jobs." Well, if you play football for a football club, and you can get your mate a job, you get your mate a job, and nobody thinks twice about it, you know. So I've kind of looked from a little bit further back, and I've heard all the stories, and you know, part of the grand conspiracy. It's the first layer of the Illuminati, and all of this. But in fairness, I've met loads of people who are Freemasons, and they usually working on a good cause and trying to get me involved in it, you know, so I can't. If there was something really, in a way, I kind of wish that something really heinous had happened so that I could say, but I've not found an but yet. I mean, there might be one out there, but I haven't found one.
Hopefully we come across.
We might find something in the dark in a temple one night. That'd be super cool. Be really good, though, and I mean, we'd be respectful of the place, so.
Yes, well, speaking on that, the kitchen in the building's beneath underground, it's beneath the Grand Hall.
Oh, wow, right.
And my dad said it used to be used in the mid-1800s as a stable, horses stable.
Right.
And when he's down there, he heard like horses sneering. He would smell manure. He would see flashes from the bottom of the stairs into the crockery cupboard.
Right.
Pans would rattle. And he mentioned something about a dig that took place in the late 90s, early 2000s in the cellar underneath the kitchen.
Right.
And this is a room that's around 4 foot tall by 10 foot wide.
Right.
And in that room they found bones, old clothing, jewellery, and all that. What they found is displayed up in the Grand Hall.
Well, hey, it's frankly made for us, really, isn't it? Come on.
It certainly is. There's a tunnel in there as well at the back end of this room where they've done a dig. There's a little hole in the wall.
Right.
And people see it and see a candlelight flickering inside there, but there's no candle ever there.
Well, which we certainly do.
And in this hole, apparently I haven't seen it myself, there's a tunnel leading to the river that smugglers used to use.
Well, it's funny that you should mention Sunderland, because we did a show from Sunderland. There's a place on the coast that's a cave, and it's known as Spotty's Hole. It's right on the coast in Sunderland, just away from the town centre on the coast. And apparently it's blocked up now, but it used to have, it was like a smuggler's chamber, and it went to half a dozen different bars in the city centre.
I believe that's called the Smuggler's Inn now, to be fair.
Is it? Well, so. If that's the case, I went there a few years ago, and the moment that I walked up, it was a double door on the seafront, and you opened it up, and it was just a cave, but you could see where things had been blocked, you know, where stones and stuff had been used to close the place off. And the second I walked in, the only bulb in the place shattered above my head, and I was just thinking, hello, boys. It's like, whoa, what a welcome that was. But no, a lot of Sunderland underneath, even when they put pipe work in, sometimes they just start digging, and then all of a sudden, you know, like a sinkhole. There's just a huge hole, but it's actually the tunnels underneath towns and underneath roads. And amazing amount of digging there must have been.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Hey, we'll have a word, Alex. Come on, use your powers of persuasion with your dad and see if we can get a night out. Sounds good.
Indeed.
Thanks a lot, Matt. All the best.
No problem. You too now.
Bye-bye. How good would that be? You see, that's the kind of thing that you don't get the chance of much. I'd like to do that. 0191 488 3188. Who else is out there? Hang on. Samantha. So, hello, Sam. Hello, Samantha. Greatest hit, Cliff Richard, many years ago. Anyway, here we go. Samantha, who's in South Shields. Hello, Samantha.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, my darling. What can we do for you tonight?
Well, a couple of things that I can tell you about.
Oh, please.
One story, it's something that I didn't see, but it's something that I wish that I didn't hear.
Oh, right, okay.
Stuck with us for like my entire adulthood.
Uh-huh.
When I was a young kid, I used to work in the Marsden Grotto. You probably know that.
Yeah, we've been. Lovely place.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I worked in there for 4 years as a young kid until I left school. Like, I was a glass collector and I worked in the upstairs in the restaurant and stuff. And anyway, It was back in the day before, can you remember when the pubs used to shut down on a Sunday afternoon between like 3 and 6 or something?
Yes, absolutely. You opened for lunch and then it shut and it didn't come open till beginning of the night shift anyway.
Yes. Well, I used to get left in the bar on my own and I had to do all the glasses. I was just like the skivvy.
Yeah.
On £2.50 an hour.
Hell's
So I used to have to sort of stay behind and wash all the glasses and get everything ready for the next shift coming in.
Right.
And that was in like the front, like we called it like the front lounge.
Is this the one that opens out onto the beach?
Yes.
I know
Right.
exactly where you mean. Because that's where the guy got shot by the tally man, hence the cursed mug that used to be behind the bar. Don't know whether that's
yes. I tell you what, I could literally talk behind legs off donkey with all my stories. Honestly,
do.
It was a creepy place. But anyway,
Give me
this
some.
one time, it was something that I heard, and it was very macabre. It was very sad, actually. I'll never forget the clump that a body made as this poor, unfortunate person committed suicide over the Marsden Cliffs.
Oh, good God.
Landed on top of the bar, and it was obviously on top of the room that I was in, and there was only me in the bar, and the person that lived in the sort of the granny flat was the manager at the time.
Yes.
He lived on site,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know what it was. I just heard this great big sound. Didn't know what it was. Anyway, half an hour later, the place was flooded with police and fire brigade and ambulance people and all that. And this poor guy, this poor person had obviously like jumped at that was it. He was a goner. And I'll never forget the sound, the clump, and not knowing what it was. And just sort of going, all right, what was that? Okay, bump. Because I was kind of used to hearing like bumps and knocks, when it's quiet and you turn the music off, because it was a creepy place, mind. I was there for 4 years, and I've probably seen and heard so many different things.
Well, we did a show live from there, and kind of like you, I've got half a dozen stories about it. But just to stick to the main thing, a few things happened when we were there. I took a drink out of the chalice. It washed it out because it had spiders and all kinds of stuff in it. There's obviously nobody whoever cleaned the glasses on the bar never touched the chalice, I noticed.
No, it was good.
But the other thing that happened while we were there, and there was only 2 of us there and the manager of the pub at the time, and about 2/3 of the way through our ghost visit, the jukebox came on, but like halfway in the middle of a song, and just kind of went, and then it went off again, and we went across to the jukebox, and it wasn't plugged in.
Oh no!
So you kind of go,
never happened to me.
What?
That's pretty creepy.
It is, but the landlord, there was a suicide following us being there too, and I kind of always wondered if it was anything to do with my chalicey thing, but the guy said 2 days before that happened, the cellar that the guy kept the key around his neck, apparently, where you kept the barrels and bottles of booze and stuff, all of that had exploded. The barrels had burst, and a lot of the bottles had popped, and the whole place was like 2 inches deep of booze. And he couldn't understand how that had happened because it hadn't been particularly hot or particularly cold. And anyway, it's in the rocks, so it shouldn't be an issue. And
things like that used to happen behind the bar as well. Like the little mini bottles used to be kept under the bar rather than in fridges back in the day.
Right.
And they used to just explode for no reason. There was just no telling why. But
it's really reassuring, isn't it, when you think you're in a haunted pub, but oh, hell's bell. What was the most vivid thing that you heard from like a kind of ghostly perspective? Did you get anything like that?
I saw a couple of things that would not be able to be explained. I don't know if it was some sort of animal or the stories where it was a cat, and I probably believe it was like about a cat size. There used to be like a family room to the right of the lift as you walked out, where we had like loads of kids' toys, and we called it the family room anyway. Right. And there was a great big old fireplace, and I often used to see something, and I didn't know what it was, and it was kind of like on the floor, not like a person height, going into the fireplace. And for years, it was just there was something in my peripheral vision. Didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Well,
mind you, the old-fashioned fireplaces, got to remember that. Think of a modern-day cat. Where do they rest? The warmest place in the house. They always curl up on a radiator or, next to the fire. So it wouldn't surprise me if a cat spirit had already got used to warming itself next to the big fire. That would kind of make sense, wouldn't it?
But I tell you what, when I worked upstairs, because we had like a silver service restaurant, but the chefs were good crack mind, and they used to take the mickey, and what they would do to any sort of new members of staff, and it happened to me, they would rig up all of the great big ladles, like, your heavy chef's ladles, things like that, all the sort of things from the kitchen, on fishing wire, and then they would stand in the bar in the restaurant and yank all the stuff when they would see these young, me and the kids that would come through collecting plates and make all the cutlery and all these ladles go up and down, and they thought it was hilarious. And we obviously thought, the first time it happens, you're terrified. The second time, it's a prank, but we used to kill ourselves laughing at the new people that would start. Yeah. Because obviously all these ghost stories preceded the place.
They're all turning white, and the chef says, "Nip into the kitchen and bring me." I'd rather not. I can imagine.
But I've got to say, there is one thing that I did see that stayed with me. And we used to have our Sunday dinner, like all the staff, after close of day on a Sunday, and it was always upstairs in the restaurant. And this particular Sunday, nothing out of the ordinary, we'd all used to cram around one table together because all the tables would be then laid out for the next day.
Right.
And there was 4 chairs, four chairs around this table, all fell backwards. Away from the table.
How do you explain that? That's amazing.
Well,
that's good stuff.
I don't know. I was so young. I think I was only like 17.
Yeah.
It wasn't long after that I left because the place got smashed up in the bad storm.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking that was really strange, thinking it was one of the staff members, like one of the daft chefs, but I don't think it was in hindsight.
Yeah.
I think it probably was something creepy.
Hey, no, it's brilliant. Hey, thank you very much, Samantha. Top stories.
Oh, no problem.
Good stuff. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, we're getting some corking tales tonight, but things you've seen that you wish you hadn't seen. But the stars come out at night. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Alan Robson with you. It's the Night Owls, of course. I'm going to play you an absolute classic song. But first, let's hear about the life of one of the people singing. And that's Dolly Parton. How do you keep so up to date with everything, though, Dolly? Because an awful lot of people who started out in the 50s and 60s, they have their time and then they're gone. Dolly Parton goes on forever, and you're as relevant today as you've ever been.
Well, that makes me feel really good. I've never stopped working the whole time. I never was one of those artists that would stay off for 2 or 3 years and decide to get back. I never said I'm going to retire because I can't, because I was always dreaming, I was always working, and now I've dreamed myself into a corner and I have to be responsible for dreams I've seen come true, so now I have to keep working, but I do love it.
What about the travelling? Are you taking it easier with the travel, or are you still as crazy for it as ever?
Well, I'm a gypsy, and I love my tour bus, and I don't even stay in hotels. Even when we were traveling in the, in Europe, in England, we had two tour buses that we had all over, the Europe when we were doing that, and same with Australia.
Right.
They had buses made and sent over, or had them done there. So I live in my tour buses. I fly when I have to. We had to fly. Of course, you have to fly some to get to certain points, but I prefer the bus, and I love to travel.
It just seems that whatever you do, whatever you put your hand to, seems to work. Some of my all-time favourite musical was The Best Little Whorehouse, which is one of the most underrated musicals on planet Earth. You've done Steel Magnolias, blimey, everything you've done's turned to gold. How does that make you feel?
Well, it feels good, It's like I'm sure everything don't turn to gold, but they're all fun for me. They're all, things that work. But I have been blessed. I have been lucky, that I've had 9 to 5, the movie that was my first movie.
Absolutely.
So well, then The Best Little Whorehouse and Steel Magnolias. Like you said, we just really had good luck, and I hope to do some more movies when I find something that's as suitable to me as those seem to have been.
Your body's immaculate, and every man just looks at it with a chin on their chest because you're so cute. What's the worst thing that's ever happened to it? Accidents, operations and stuff. What have you had?
I've had everything. I tell you, my best saying is, I am a self-made woman, and I've got the Dr. Bill's fruit. I always say if I see something dragging, sagging, and bagging, I'm going to have it nipped, tucked, and sucked.
Saying she's now more determined to lead her organisation. She's welcoming calls for an independent investigation.
I am really comfortable that we review what happened. I don't think anybody who was not in the operation can actually pass a detailed comment on the rightness and wrongness of it.
Meanwhile, police investigating Sarah's death have cordoned off an area in the town of Sandwich. The 33-year-old's body was found in Woodland in Kent on Wednesday. Serving police officer Wayne Cousins, who's 48, has been charged with kidnap and murder. Elsewhere, a 3-year-old boy has died after falling into a canal with his mum in Berkshire. Police were called to Ashbridge in Newbury yesterday. The child died in hospital. The Netherlands has joined Ireland in suspending the use of the AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine. The country's government says it's pausing the rollout until at least the 29th of March. The pharmaceutical company's found no evidence its vaccine is linked with blood clotting after a handful of reported cases. In sport, Arsenal won the North London derby, beating Tottenham 2-1. Alexander Lacazette's penalty was the difference between the teams. Spurs boss Jose Mourinho feels the spot kick shouldn't have been awarded.
The crucial action of the game arrives. I don't want to call it a penalty because it's an offence to the penalties.
Manchester United beat West Ham 1-0, Leicester thrashed Sheffield United 5-0 and Brighton were 2-1 winners at Southampton. Scotland's hopes of winning Rugby Union's Six Nations are over after they lost 27-24 to Ireland. And England's cricketers lost their second T20 fixture against India. From Sky News, I'm Anna Bates.
You are with the big one. Thanks, Anna. Alan Robson with you on the Night Owls, and it is, of course, Greatest Hits Radio North East. However, going to give you one of our clues to win yourself one of our mugs. 4 clues, and we're looking for a person tonight. What is the link? The link is a human being, and you have to tell me the name of that human being. This particular human being has had greatest hits himself, but what's his name? The first clue is this. They had greatest hits with Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. Okay, minor hits with Street of Dreams as well. They had greatest hits with Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. Okay, what was the name of that group? Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. Write it down. 3 more clues to come, and then you've got to tell me the person that links everything together. Yeah, have to say that Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner, but he knew it couldn't last. He left his home in Tucson, Arizona for some Californian grass, but he's actually on the phone right now. Jojo, Newcastle. Hello, Jojo.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well. I didn't realise I would ever speak to anybody so famous that Lennon and McCartney wrote about them, so I'm absolutely thrilled. What can we do for you, Jojo?
Just checking in with you, Alan. Just to let you know, we've been listening to you for years. You're a great, great, great guy.
Bless you,
and
man.
we always know we're close to home and we'll get you on the radio.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So, what are you up to then?
Well, life's changed for me. No longer on stage. Performer up and down the country, all over the world. I'm now working in the waste disposal site, Bell's Waste Disposal in Blaydon.
Oh, my God. What happened, though? You've got to come back, though, once everything changes, surely to goodness.
Oh, I'm back. We're back. Bigger than ever. We've got some great things in the pipeline ready to go.
Good lad. People have all had, everybody, including myself, we've all had to do what we had to do just to get by, absolutely. So, absolute respect for you. We've got a gig where you could.
Grabs, skips to lipsticks. It's changed.
So tell everybody what you do. What's your show?
We're a performer, a visual comedy show called Top Hat and Heels. We perform all over the country, abroad in Europe, and it's all visual comedy. For example, Diana Ross does Reach Out and Touch, but the arms are on electronic motors that get longer and longer. Tina and Ike and stuff like that. So it's all tongue-in-cheek family fun.
No, it's wonderful, but I mean, people know the name because we've seen it you've been everywhere, you've done every damn thing, and it was one of those things that when we talk about how bands and artists have never been able to have a gig for over a year, which is pretty much the case, except on Zoom or on Skype or whatever, people don't realise that when it's your livelihood to work every night just to keep a roof over your head, if that suddenly stops, you can't just, I'll wait till it sorts itself out. You've got to find some other way to bring in the cash in.
Yeah, you've just got to go with the flow, keep your chin up and just go forward and take everything. You know, it's a chance you take in life doing something different. Is it going to work? Is it not? But you won't know until you do it. And I'm glad I did it. I've learned some great stuff, met some great people and got some new stage material ready to go back. So it's been a great thing.
But also the main thing is you've kept the wheels oiled and you've kept a roof over your head and food in your belly, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to do nowadays. I
think we're light at the end of the tunnel now. I think we're getting towards some sort of normality.
I hope so too. I hope so. Hey, it wouldn't be the same without people like yourself, man. Honestly, you're proper trooper, man. No question.
You've got it. But I'm sure we'll be meeting again before. I think we've seen each other before at the Hilton and stuff like that. We've worked together many, many times before.
Yeah, well, hey, let that happen again. And love to everybody concerned, because it's not just you and your partner. You've got a whole team behind you, friends and family looking after you. So, hey, keep it going.
We've got a full agency, promo, art designers, costume designers, lighting DJs and stuff like that. So there's a full team. That's not just us on the front line.
Sure. No, but you're just one of those names that all the way through my career, I've looked to see, you look at the scene, who's playing where and who's doing what. And your name was one of the ones that you looked for. And you know, they're going great. It's just, it's proper different entertainment, if that makes sense. It's not just traditional stuff. You've got this just wacky edge to you. It's brilliant. Love it.
Oh, great. Well, you're welcome to the show anytime. Anytime you come.
I tell you, I'd just love to be able to sit in a seat and watch anybody at the minute, man, I have to say, because we're so deprived of something that we all took for granted, That's the
right.
thing. Hey, well, great to hear from you. So you're doing a comedy show. Do you have any rough idea when you're going to be getting out there? Because I'm guessing it'll have to be like, suppose, June, July now, is it?
12th of June, we're going live.
12th of June.
Holding on to that.
Excellent. Hey, well, keep on keeping on. America have already said that by May, everybody there's going to be jucked.
Oh,
and that means that by June, July, people will be able to mix and have their holidays and all that kind of stuff. If America can do it, we should be on track. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Fingers crossed, Alan. Fingers crossed. I'll send you some free tickets over. You're welcome to come see us anytime.
I would love to. Thanks again, and hey,
thanks for having us on.
It's one of those things, mate. You've got no idea how well thought of your act is in the business. People love what you do. Don't ever stop, man. Don't ever stop.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Alan.
Take care, mate. All the best. Bye-bye. Legends on the scene. Absolute legends. 0191 488 3188. And it's strange because the kind of things that people have been very kind to me, and I'm very grateful. Even just earlier this week, somebody stopped me who'd seen the thing that we did last Thursday, the little mini Grizzly Trail thing that we did around town. Every Thursday we're going to do a ghostly ham now. And I've got a few other things planned too. But the guy just came up and said, I've seen you a couple of times, just never wanted to say. And you think, no, always say. Because it's so easy to think that people forget, you know. And I've never forgotten about Jojo. Top hat. What a great act. 01914 488 3188. Always make sure if there's an act that you like anywhere, anybody, just make sure you tell them. 0191 488 3188. Thanks to Mark. Delighted that you're going to be live each Thursday on YouTube. Because I hate Sundays. I sleep all day Sunday. I only wake up at 10 o'clock at night to listen to you on the Night Owls. Well, at least you get something out of the day. And Mark, thank you very much. Two other very quick things that I must mention. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Tracy, she's had a real rough few weeks with COVID. She's getting better, but she cannot sleep and she cannot stay awake. It's murder when you're like that. I must get some sleep. I can't sleep. I wake up, I can't stay awake. I'm going to have to try and get some sleep. Nightmare. And also to Katie. Katie sent this in last week. I didn't get a chance to read it out. Please give a shout out for my husband, Ben. We're huge fans. We listen to you every Sunday in bed without fail. I'm not looking. Could you please play a U2 song for him on occasion? I will. First chance you get. 0191 488 3188. Let us... Oh, hang on. I've got an EVP. And I think it's from Michael and Amanda, who are in Gateshead. Hello, Michael and Amanda.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, the two of you. Good to hear from you. So what's this EVP all about? And all I've got in my little box here is EVP. Where is it? What is it? Tell us a story.
Right, well, it was a good few years ago. I spoke to you a few months ago about it, actually, and you were meant to be digging it out back then.
Yes.
But it was about the Queen's...
Oh, the Queen's Head.
Yep, is it over Sheffield there?
Yes.
Where we're done a recording up on the back stairs about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, give or take.
Right.
And basically, well, if you ever get a chance to listen to it, I've got. Let's
everybody hear it. What is it, so that people can listen out for it?
Right, we're on the backstairs. You can hear us talking,
right,
in the background for a little bit, and then you'll hear we're walking away because obviously the noise gets lower and lower.
Sure.
It would be about a couple of minutes or something like that. You can start hearing the dog bark in the background. And it's really, really loud. It's not something that will be outside of the building. It will be something that's got to be inside the building.
But there wasn't a dog in the building?
But there was no dogs in the building, just us poor people up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And basically, all of a sudden you start hearing kids crying and talking.
Well, Tony's just said in my headphones that he's clipped the best bit, he says. So
I hope he has.
So I hope he has too. Let's sharp find out, and then we can bollock him later. Anyway, here it is. Well, that wasn't a dog barking, but what the hell was that?
I don't know what that was. I'll be honest with you. I possibly it sounded a little bit better on my wife's phone before.
Well, we'll try and clean it up a bit better than that. But it sounds like there's a hum of whatever the recording equipment was that we've probably enhanced with everything else we've enhanced on there. Yeah. But there was just a strange. It did sound like kids and.
Just the last millisecond there, yeah, it did sound like a kid shouting, but before all that buzzing become on, it was actually a dog barking, and
right.
I think the children were actually telling the dog to stop barking.
I think Tony's probably took the dog out thinking, there's a dog barking, thinking there's a dog barking there.
Very possible, but no, it did actually start. I should have told Chris earlier on, to start where the dog was barking. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I thought that they might have started it when...
Started where the dog's barking, Tony Manho. If he's got time tonight, he'll recut it if he's got time, but we'll see.
But I thought that you would have just left you speaking, introducing the clip. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then letting it play through. But obviously, you know, time is a must. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he just says he's the boss and it's too long. So there you go. And I tell you, when another man says to you it's too long, it should be proud. You should be proud of that.
Very proud. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I mean, the whole ghosty thing still going on, strength to strength. But I mean, I presume you've been stopped in your tracks along with everybody else.
Just a few times, you know what I mean? I remember the time when we went up to Beamish Hall with you.
Yeah.
On the big massive car ride that we had out. So that was one nightmare.
It was funny though, because the amount of people that made it, and I think there was a good few hundred that actually got to the very end. But at the beginning there was something like 2,000 cars eventually.
Oh, I know. Well, I remember I keep on getting stuck in the traffic lights. I think it was going me and the other 200 cars behind us. Always just stuck in traffic lights.
And then they all start heading in a direction and they see lights in front and think, that must be them, and they're just following anybody.
Yeah, I think they were, yeah. If there was more than 3 cars after a traffic light stop, that's them, let's follow them, you know what I mean? But hey, honestly, you know, well, we broke down.
Oh no! But did you still manage to get to Beamish?
Oh yeah, well I had to phone Night Owls up myself, you see, because we had a ticket to get into the venue.
Oh right at the end, good.
Aye, but we were caught up to my friend, lucky enough, before me engine started overheating. So we jumped in his car, phoned the office straight away. You know, as soon as it okay, if we had a third person, we went and broke down.
Yeah.
There was no problem there. He got in, got his burger and all that, and happy days, you know.
Great.
But, you know, there was a few bits and pieces I remember from up there. There was like a centre walkway through the whole building. It was just like a big long corridor.
Yes.
Right. But I decided to have a walk through there by myself.
Right.
I wish I hadn't, but never mind.
What happened?
It just sounded like somebody was following us.
Right.
But you will remember, you know, you had, 50, 60 people around there?
Well, you see, the whole idea was we'd invited a certain number of people, because you had to know for the catering how many people were going to be fed. And so we had a particular number. So we said, if you want to do something, because it was raising money for charity as well, if you remember. Yeah, so every car had to stick a couple of quid in, and then off we went. But some of them disappeared, headed in Sunderland direction. Others disappeared at Durham. We had people all over the place. But the funny thing was, the following morning, the police went, "Did Alan do something on the road last night?" Because we had traffic jams here and traffic jams there, and I'm thinking,
They must have done. Honestly,
seeing out, press on.
That was just really, really fun, though. And another bit I can remember from Beamish Hall as well, you know, if you want to face in Beamish Hall, there was a tiny little statue.
Yes.
In the middle of the garden. There was a few, you know, a couple of nights I was standing out there, me, the wife, a few others.
Yeah.
And every time I say, take a photograph of that, they took a photograph, and there was an orb flying around.
Oh, brilliant.
Right? But then, if you remember, just behind it looked like a wooded area. Yeah, there's bushes, but in the dark, it looked like a wooded area. Yeah. I thought I had seen something dark out of the corner of my eye.
Right.
So me and the wife just had a stumble across, and we got our phones out, we took a load of photographs, but that was like 74 mobile phones before, you know what I mean? So God knows where them we went to. But, you know, we tried, we got one orb, but the rest of it was just, they could just see the trees, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? So whatever was there was gone, you know? You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's lovely stories about that whole place that I'm sure we'll be redoing again. But great to hear from you, Michael and Amanda. Thank you very much.
No bother. You take care. Nice to hear you back.
All the best. Thanks, man. There, how good is that? And well done, Amanda, there in the background. And EVPs are difficult because if you record them yourself, like if we do it, we manage to be able to hear them. When you guys do it, it's kind of hit and miss. I think that one was probably, if I'm honest, an ounce more miss. Let's have another star that comes out at night. John Power, the man behind the band called Cast, fabulous. Also the lead singer of The Lars. I asked him about his heroes.
On the theme of kind of heroes, I suppose, is there, you mentioned Marley, you mentioned Lennon out of the music side of things. If you could have written a song that somebody else has already written, you got one?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of beautiful... I mean, there's absolutely... You know, there's lots, and there's so many great songs out there. I mean, there really is. I mean...
Have you got one that's yours, though? Because you know, like a pet song, and this is...
Oh, do you mean stuff someone else has written?
A melter, yeah.
Oh God, there's loads. I mean, of course, there's songs like of course there are places I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great, like. And there's also Redemption Song. The words in that are amazing.
Brilliant.
But it cuts right across. I mean, there's songs like, I don't know if you heard Carole King, Tapestry, or
Yeah, of course.
or Beefheart. But there's just millions of brilliant songs, and I try and write my songs to the level that I listen to.
Right.
I'm not going to try and write
Standards.
a song that's a kind of an indie hit or this. What I'm saying, I don't mean that. I'm just saying, like, if I'm going to try and be something, I'm going to try and at least aim up to the star.
Sure.
And if we fall halfway, well, then we're falling higher than someone who's only aiming as high as the roof at the top,
Strange though, because to the outside, casts have this kind of rock hard, who wears lads on the street kind of image, and yet
I'm
you're aiming
guy,
for you're aiming for beauty in the middle of all of this, aren't you?
Yeah. Well,
they'll give you hell in the chip shop.
Yeah, never judge a book by its cover, mate.
That's true.
Hadn't seen, so we still want some more of them, Gluttons for Punishment. But we've been talking a bit about ghosts, so I thought I'd throw this one in for you that did absolutely make me smile. I couldn't laugh at the time because I was taking the call seriously, and it's the woman that rang in because her son kept she kept experiencing her son's let's just call it ectoplasm for the sake of argument. He's got ectoplasm all over the sheets and all over the floor. Are you sure it's ectoplasm?
I don't know what else it could be. He's adamant it's a ghost.
How much is there?
There's not a lot. I mean, maybe it's a symbol, something like that, Alan.
Right.
So that's what he says. He said all this Derek Acora stuff, and I thought I'd ring yourself.
Usually with ectoplasm, there's a bit more than that. There's a lot of other things that could possibly be, other than ectoplasm, depending on what he's watching.
Right. Well, right. I'll have a talk to him.
Have a chat with you. I think he needs a word on, definitely, that lad.
Well,
all right.
Thank you very much for your help, Alan.
You're more than welcome. Cheers. There you go. You got any experience with ectoplasm? I suppose we should say. Hope for the best. Let's crack on. We've got Darren, who is in Newcastle upon the Tyne. Hello, Darren.
Hello, Alan. You all right?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. What are you talking about tonight?
Well, it's about these ghost hunts that you're going to do on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I watched your live footage, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be good." This, just got intrigued, wanted to, know a bit more about it and stuff. So I've been like googling things on Google and that, looking at like ghosts and there's like witches and it's like mad, it's crazy. It's just all these things that you find about Newcastle where you live, really.
Well, it's just the thing that years and years and years ago I wrote a book called Nightmare on Your Street because it doesn't matter where you live, especially in the north, there's a story. It's like I was growing up in Benwell when I was a kid in the West End of Newcastle. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that at the top of my street, Kew Gardens, there used to be an old warehouse before it became shops on a place called Adelaide Terrace, that they used to keep huge boxes with corpses in to send to people in Edinburgh to dissect. How come we didn't know that?
Exactly. How do you know that?
But you see, wherever you look, though, there's a dark story of one kind or another.
Definitely. Well, my mum's in all that. Like, I text her saying, I'm going to night owls tonight and all this. About all the ghosts, and I was telling you that you've been doing the walks and that, you're doing it again.
Yeah.
And she started saying, I've got loads of books about Newcastle and all this, about ghosts and all this. And she was telling us all this stuff, and I was like, whoa. Never knew that. Like, you used to hang people on the town moor.
Absolutely.
Witches and stuff. I was like, witches? They are witches.
Absolutely. There's a witch house on Claremont Road. It looks like a windmill.
Right.
Don't know whether you've ever driven up past Claremont. Claremont Road runs parallel with like the Central Motorway.
Right.
And just off your left-hand side, you'll see a house that's shaped like a windmill, because it used to be a windmill, funnily enough. And there's an amazing witch ghost story attached to that property, and particularly the garden behind it, where they used to
I'll have to look that up, have a look at that.
chop up children. So it's a... there's some heavy stuff kicking around. But as I say, just wherever you go, there was a battle, there was a war, there was a killing, there was a murder, big market. all kinds of stuff went on down there in various places. Fascinating. And it's just if you don't know, you go around your own town, whether it's Sunderland or Durham or Leeds or Sheffield, wherever you are, and you're usually about 2 to 3 minutes away from stuff. And we should know. Do you know, we know about amazing ghost stories all over the world, but we don't know what the hell happened where you live. It's
I know.
Crazy.
I was just looking up this thing on at the Hancock's Museum as well about the mummy. Reportedly, he walks around.
Do you know that mummy in the Hancock Museum?
It's been there for years, hasn't it?
Since I was a little. Hey, you've just uncorked a really, really special memory for me. When I was a kid, I went to an all-boys school. Which meant, but
Cuthbert.
Oh, you went to Cuthbert. Oh, blame me, John Marley for me. And the one thing that guarantees you is that when you talk to girls, it's like that's kind of the level that I was on. And the one place that I discovered every Saturday, the Hancock Museum, was full of young girls roughly my age, and I'm thinking, I'm going to start really taking an interest in natural history.
Yeah.
First of all, I learned that the basin in there has the largest testicles in the world. That was one of the first things. But the other thing, this was about the third week that I'd gone, hadn't managed to score at all, but I'd had a couple of tries, which is better than normal, let's face it. So I was in the mummy, brilliant. It was, at the time, it was stood up.
That's right, it was,
at the edge of the big cabinet that had all like mummified things in it. It was standing up and you go, oh, look, there's the mummy. And I was standing there and I was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be really freaky if it started moving like those mummy films?
Yeah.
And the moment I thought that in me head, his hand fell off.
Really?
Boom!
My God, I would have been straight along the corridor.
I just remember being outside, looking back with me heart in my chest going, boom, 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 boom. Oh, but
I remember,
I think just the metal that was holding it on, it's probably snapped or something.
Well, me mash was telling us years ago, she stayed at the Hancock's Museum for the night.
Oh, wow.
With my brother. I think we were only young, my brother was only little. And they stayed there. She says you could just hear loads of, the wood creaking on the floors and that. That's all changed now. But she says you could just hear strange noises. And I was saying to her, I said, oh, what if you see the mummy walking around? Or, you know what I mean? But I suggest you went on little walks.
I was going to say, be more scary for her if the bison decided to come out.
If it didn't put no lights on, it was just dead dark.
Yeah.
It would be like a night at the museum, like the movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, but it's a lot to be said for the Hancock. I've got plenty of time for the people out there.
Yeah.
For sure. Hey, good stuff. Anything else then?
That's all. Just can't wait for the ghost stuff on Thursday to watch it again.
Good, man. Thanks very much. Look forward to it. Cheers, man.
Thank you, Alan.
Bye-bye. Oh, that's nice. Nice to know that people give it down. It's always good. 0191 488 3188. Keep the calls coming, please. And Easter's just said, oh, I had a right episode with Ectoplasm, but I couldn't possibly tell you. I don't think I want to know, Easter, but thank you for that anyway. Let's get cracking. 0191 488 3188. I love Thursday night, but it could have been on for longer. I guess that's what tasters are for. Absolutely, it will be certainly longer. Every week now. That was just like a promo, I suppose. 0191 488 3188. Let us move across to Sue, who is in Washington. Hello, Sue.
Hello, Alan.
Hello there. What you got for us tonight then, Sue?
Right. I think I've got a ghost in our house, definitely.
Yeah, explain.
Well, didn't I call you the other day and said about the smoke alarm?
Yes.
Going off?
Yeah.
Well, it happened again. Went beep. That was after I phoned you on the Sunday. I think it was on the Monday or something, early hours Monday morning. So they came out and done it again on Tuesday. And have a guess what?
What?
It went off again, 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh, blimey. So
I think
are you rubbing your legs together in bed and starting a fire or something? Are you stopped shaving your legs, Sue? Is that what it's really all about?
Yeah, there's too much friction. No, I mean, it's a fireman, but I wish to God he would just wake us up with his hose, give us a poke with his hose or something. Rather than set the smoke alarm off.
Oh, because the smoke alarms are annoying. There was one in a place that I was staying briefly. I was staying there for I think it was 5 days, and the whole time they said, "Oh, there's you're welcome to stay, but there's a fault with the smoke alarm because it's hardwired, and we can't switch it off legally because we're open to the public and stuff." And the whole night it was just going meep 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 meep, not loud, but just 2,000 meeps an hour, and you're lying there trying to get to sleep, and all.
Oh, God.
Does your head in.
But anyway, the things that you wish you'd never seen.
Oh, go on then.
One, our little dog, Tilly, when we first wormed her, and that came out like a plate of spaghetti.
Oh, right.
Oh, it was awful. I wouldn't never like to see that again.
No,
and then,
no. Were they alive after they wormed?
Yes,
oh, hell's bells, that's not nice.
So
what do you do with it? Hang on, you've got a bucket full of worms. What do you do with it?
Oh, I just had to clear them up, didn't I? But oh my God, they were horrible. But that was because the lady who we got her from hadn't wormed her properly.
Oh,
so
right.
They could have killed her. The amount she had in her little belly, they could have killed her.
So, I mean, you know, a little bit earlier on, we heard about the dog's anal glands that apparently you've got to squirt clean. Does every dog want to have to do that?
Certain dogs, not everyone. I mean, it smells as if they're pumping all the time, but it's a really strong smell. So they just need... My mum's dog, she's got a King Charles Spaniel. She has to have hers done quite often.
Oh, hang on. When you say done, does she have to do it? Or how...
No, the vets do it. The vets do it.
Oh, hell, no. I always wondered why vets were so expensive. I think I've just found out. Because, blimey, you wouldn't want to do... Excuse me a second, I'm just going to get hold of the dog!
Jeez. There are videos on YouTube.
No. Whoa. Don't send people to do that. That's not doing them any favours. Shit, we think the pimple popper's disgusting. If you see them doing that to a Cocker Spaniel, that's just wrong.
Oh, yeah, there are YouTube videos where they show you how it's done. So, I mean, but how people have got on during this lockdown, I don't know, because the vets are only open for emergencies. So
yeah, well, they're all on YouTube and then grabbing hold of their little puppy. Oh,
but you know when they need doing because they start rubbing the backsides on the carpet or whatever.
Oh, hang on a second, Tony. Do your dogs rub their bum along your carpet? One of them sometimes says, "You need the anal glands cleaning out, man. Who? Otherwise, your carpets will never be the same again." Oh, that's wrong, isn't it? Could you imagine imagine a member of your family, a husband or a brother or a son, and they say, "Hey, Mum, I'm a bit itchy down there." They pull their pants off and rub their bum across your carpets. Oh, that's disgusting. Because people treat their dogs like family, and you know that.
Yeah. But anyway, the other one is when I won the tickets for the Kubik Festival.
All right,
And it was on. We was there during the day, and then we had a break and came home. Went back for the evening.
Oh, lovely.
And so there was loads of like the portaloos, you know, and there was queues. I never used them. I just kept it in until I got home.
But you see, this is what I don't understand, because if you're a bloke and you say, "I'm just going to hold it," I don't know any man that says, "I'm just going to hold it." When you got to go, you got to go. But you women are like camels. How can you hold it?
You just do, and then you run upstairs straight away.
But you must practically explode when you get up there.
Well, yeah. I have to be quick nowadays, I tell you. Anyway, this woman, this young lass, instead of waiting in the queue, she went behind the portaloos and pulled the knickers down, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to see that again.
No. No, there was a one at one of the music festivals, and this was, I think it was about 3 years ago. They had the portaloos, but underneath the portaloo, they didn't have like chemical stuff. They just dug a big pit for the
no.
for the poo and wee to just go straight down into this pit. And then they got at the end of the festival, they got like a bulldozer and it just filled the whole thing.
God,
and it was
almighty.
like 300 gallons of fertilizer or whatever down there. But some kid, for a laugh, and he did it on purpose, I later heard, jumped into the river of diarrhea and went along poking his finger up people's bums down the respective toilets. And I think you've got to be a particularly keen prankster to think that's a good idea. Gee. I don't know whether he's still alive. He's probably died of the plague by now, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And the other thing, what was the other thing? Oh, I can't remember now. Oh, God, it's gone out of my head. I hate it when this happens. Things that my probably, if I said to my husband, what would you not like to see again? I think he would say, I didn't know until a few weeks after when I had my daughter, Elizabeth.
Right.
And my husband said, you do know that when you was pushing, you pooped as well, and they quickly whipped it away. I didn't know, because you see, you're pushing that hard. and then he said the nurses quickly whipped it.
Yeah. Now that's called a dirty birth, apparently, and it's reasonably common. But I thought they gave you something like an enema first, so that the doctor didn't get a poo in his pocket.
No, they threatened me with one because I was constipated for months and months and months.
Right.
And they said, you've got to go home and drink your fibre gel. And I went, no chance of that happening.
No.
And they said, well, you have to, because they give us they had a feel around the day before she was born. And they said, we can't feel any baby. You're that bunged up. We can't feel anything.
Right.
So you're going to have to go home and get your fibre gel. I said, no way, can't do that, And they said, right, boil water, let it cool a bit and drink loads of water.
Yeah.
Because early hours of the next morning, I was in labour. But, oh, my God. And Bill said, yeah, he said he did poop on the bed, but they quickly whipped it away.
It's coincidence because we got Chris on the switchboard, of course, and when he was born, unfortunately that happened too, and his mother thought he had twins.
Oh, no.
There you go. Hey, I tell you, it's scary what can happen.
Oh, my God.
Awful.
Oh, God. And also, the ghost hunt thing.
Yes.
Are you going to be travelling to different places to do it?
Absolutely, all over the place. Yep.
Right, because I shared the video on all the Kings Lynn face groups that I'm on.
Brilliant, thank you.
And there are a lot of people who are interested.
Great.
Oh, that was the other thing that's come to us now. And things that you wish you'd never heard.
Yeah.
Never mind seen.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of these ghostly streets is called Pilot Street.
Uh-huh.
And there's a house, literally, like, at the very end of it, and it's the exorcist's house. So I don't know what's going on in there, but there are tales about it. I don't know.
We'll
what's going on.
have to look up to it. But Sue, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We'll never think of you the same way again. Now I hope you realise.
Hang on, wait a minute, because things unsaid, right?
Yeah.
My mum used to live in one of the houses near there, and every time we walk past it, she says, "Oh, see that window? That's where your sister was conceived." I go, "Oh no, too much information."
Yeah, not good at all. I remember when I was little, me sister, who was an ex-nun, remember? So you're going to get all the best sexual information from her. She was a nun, and she said, "I've got to tell you about the birds and the bees. Your mum's asked me to talk to you about it." So that she didn't have to, I'm guessing. And she told me, and your dad's this gets a bit hard, and he puts it inside, and he lays an egg in your... I was I was about 9, and I was mortified. I said, my father, he would never do anything like that. How dare you even suggest it? My mother, my sainted mother, would never... No, I don't believe it for a second. That's interesting. Let's find out from other night owls how they heard about the birds and the bees. Let's go down that road tonight. Sue, thanks for raising it. Well done. Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Bye, Alan.
Take care. Bye-bye. You know, talk about, that's where your sister was conceived. Too much information, but by the way, I dropped a log on the day I was given birth. That's not too much information, of course, because on Night Owls, we talk about everything. Everything we do. Right, we're going to talk to Joe, who's in Hartlepool. Hi, Joe.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi, what can we do
Hi
for
there.
you tonight, Joe? Good to talk to you.
Right. I'm here tonight to talk about. I'm a paranormal investigator. I've been doing it for a number of years.
Okay.
And you just ask any questions you want, and I'll tell you what you need to know, like what I've been up to and that, you know.
Right.
Right. There's going to be a programme on the TV. This is going to start filming in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
And I'm involved with that. That's in the northeast.
Right.
I'm classed as a historian for that.
Okay, that's
So
good.
even though I'm a paranormal investigator, you know, but they really wanted to have. I'd rather not say too much information because I don't want to give anything away. But they really wanted to have spooky stories, and although I do investigations, public investigations, I mainly do private houses and stuff
Right.
for people that have got problems.
Uh-huh.
And I give them about 20 addresses and said, look, these are the places I've done. These have got issues and stuff.
Right.
And they've been resolved, or they're happy with it. It's all okay now.
Right.
And the director got back and said, no, we really want to have stories where the people are scared, where they're petrified, they're running for their lives and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, in real life, it's not like that. Do you know what I mean? And I spoke to other investigators with other groups, and they say exactly the same. It's like, it's very, very rare that you actually get people that are absolutely, totally petrified. And
Well, it depends where you go. I've been an exorcist since 2000, and it depends where you go. I think the vast majority of people have issues that are not necessarily related to spirit in any way, shape, or form. But the 5% that are fascinating usually. But I've seen and heard a lot of people that were absolutely petrified. But it's just the nature of the stuff that I've done, because I've been doing this for about 35, 40 years now. So
I've been doing it about 15, something like that. 15
brilliant.
years. But
Good. Good on you.
all the cases I've been doing is people that get in contact with me because things are happening and they just want answers. They want to know exactly what is going on. So what I really love doing is going into the history and finding out who used to live there and the history of the place and everything. And 9 times out of 10, it's so fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm from Hartlepool, and most of my cases, you could write. Well, I am writing a book about it. You know what I mean?
That's good. You should. You absolutely should.
Yeah, because I'm writing a book because I'm thinking that when I talk to people, just generally, and oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm paranormal investigator. Oh, that sounds interesting. Tell me all about it. You know. So I'll tell them a few little bits and bobs. Like, oh, that sounds fantastic. You think, well, that's not half the story if you really knew what goes on and everything. So that's why I've decided to write a book.
Good.
But,
Get it down and write it.
I've got 1,000 pages.
Well, there you think you're well on the way. Well on the way. Well, good luck with it anyway. I hope everything you do works out for you.
Yeah. So I was watching your video with you doing the Newcastle Keep, and I'm going to be doing that.
All right.
With my group, with Northeast Paranormal Investigations. I'm going to be doing that on 17th of July. So if you wanted to come along and join in.
No, it's the things that we do. I'm not a big fan of the whole group thing, because on the occasions that I've had large groups of people, and we've done as many as 200 in castles in various parts of the world, depends how big the castle is. We've broken the world record ghost hunt twice, and the more people that you get, the more chat, the more noise, the more rattling. You can't make out what it is. So I prefer to do it with one person on their own, or 2 at the absolute most.
Yeah, when I do group things, it's normally just 15. No more than 15, because it just becomes a rabble.
Yeah,
so when you feel like you're a teacher telling them what to do and stuff, come over, be quiet, you know.
I understand.
That's so good,
Absolutely. Hey, well, good luck to you. Anyway, Joe, thank you for calling.
Okay.
Thanks for ringing in. There you go. Looks like Jo's got a busy time ahead of her. Thousands of pages already written. We hope it gets into print. 01914 888 3188. Okay, let's get another star coming out at night. Who shall it be? Oh, I'll tell you. Paul Weller. How did it all start for him?
Where did it begin, this dance you have with music?
I first started getting into music when I was about 12. I mean, that's when I first got bought a guitar. I was 12 years old. My dad bought me an old electric guitar, and that's when I kind of got into it. And then by the time I was 14, I started playing gigs just locally around where I come from in Woking, and we'd play anywhere, man. We'd play social clubs, working men's clubs, and work pubs, whatever, really. Whoever would have us, and that was it.
So that would be about 1972. Bells. Took a while, because that was long before the Jam.
Yeah, we were going for since 72 in one shape or form, and we got signed up in 77. So it was a good sort of 5 years of just kind of slogging it out and learning the ropes and doing our apprenticeship, and it was good. It stood us in good stead, really.
Well, 9 o'clock now. Beg your pardon. What an awful way to start. It's 9 o'clock. We've been gathering here and planning this for the longest time. You know, we had a radio show past. We got a radio show now on a Sunday night on Greatest Hits Radio. And the one thing that we don't get a flavour of, we get the talk, we get the camaraderie, but the one thing that we don't get is our paranormal experiences. And that's where this starts. We've decided to take everything back. We're going to be giving you talk. We're going to be out every Thursday night to somewhere interesting, live, where you can see exactly what's happening the whole time. That's what tonight's about. We need your help, of course. We need your help with respect to sharing it with as many people as you can, and also supporting us if you can do that too. The more support we get, the more shares we get, the bigger our targets can be. And you remember, we've already been all over the world doing all kinds of things, from hunting for the Yeti to desecrated cathedrals in Italy to plantations in the United States. So we want this to be as big as it possibly could be, and we would love you to get involved. We also want you on YouTube and Facebook to be part of this. So if we take you out somewhere, you'll be the ghost hunter. You'll be the person on camera, and we will be guiding you through the places to go, like we're going to do tonight. Tonight is, frankly, and we'll be honest with you, it's a teaser for what is to come. I'm not going to tell you any particular stories, but I'm going to tell you kind of what's lying ahead for all of us. We're here at Newcastle Castle Keep. Now, if you look up at the very top, people say that the longer you stare at it, there's actually a character there that, and funnily enough, even the ghost groups who visit this place fairly regularly, they don't tell the story of the well, I can say the reason why they probably don't, because while the Scots were attacking, now remember, this is long before the Tyne Bridge was there. The Tyne Bridge at the time was actually a wooden bridge, roughly where the swing bridge is now. And the Scots attacked from the south. Everybody expected them to come in from the north, but that was part of Newcastle itself, the city. So they came from the south and they bombarded the castle keep. Some of the missiles hit the cathedral, which is kind of where we're going to be headed in a second. But there was one Geordie on the top. Now, even though they were bombarding stones and missiles of all kinds being catapulted at it, one Geordie apparently stood on the top of the castle keep, pulled down his breeks, and waved his backside at the Scots as if to say, "Stuff you." And don't think it was just William Wallace and his crowd that did it. We had a Geordie up there doing it, and apparently it was said, and now this was in an article that was written in a very early Newcastle Chronicle back in the day. We're talking probably the earliest of all the chronicles. They said that if you stay at the top of the castle keep long enough, you see Jody drop his kecks. So that's what they said. I drop his breeks, should I say, to get the wording correct. But anyway, Castle Keep's got a lot of stories. It may well be at one of the places that we take on. If you walk over here, just to the side, you've got a lot of buildings that have got an amazing amount of history. When you travel around here late at night, even when you're doing something that is just frankly my naughty tease, we also get a chance to walk on some of the actual cobbles that we're here for the purpose of horses and carriages taking people to the buildings back there. And of course, up here, we come to the legendary Black Gate. Now, Blackgate Street, Blackgate Street, that's where that comes from. And of course, used to be manned by a number of soldiers. We're heading, as you can probably tell with the echo, beneath the tunnels now. The weird thing is, I'm so used to being on radio that I would normally be describing, and it's still quite late because of the street lights. Now you can see it for the first time. So make sure you share it and make sure we get a chance to gather as many of the clans as possible from all over the world. That's our plan. It's a brand new start for brand new people. I might get out a puff because even though I'm training hard, we're doing an awful lot all at once. Coming through here, of course, stories and tales of sightings are absolutely commonplace, particularly faces at windows and what have you. The Black Gate is literally, there it is, and it heads out into Newcastle City. You just wonder just how many stories places like this have to share. Now, you can come here and you can ghost hunt absolutely with a whole pile of other fellow ghost lovers, but the stuff that we're going to do, if we bring you out with us, you're going to be probably pretty much on your own. That's how it will be. Taking you along here to another site that's an amazing place to visit. If you want to do a city tour, this is kind of where you should be. You would come down here, and of course, you can turn right and go down there, and that'll take you along to the dog leap stairs that we may visit a little bit later on. But the place I'm taking you to has an amazing, amazing history. It's a place, if you're a pop music fan from the 1960s, you'll have heard Bend It, Shape It Any Way You Want It, and If Paradise Is Half As Nice by a band called Amen Corner. This is Amen Corner. Here it is. Now, I know there's lots of works going on. Oh, no, we can't get to it. That's just here. Normally, you can walk in and you can get to the back of Newcastle's cathedral. At the back of the cathedral is I'm going to try. Let's give it a go. We might be able to get around. They wouldn't put a path here, I think, if you couldn't. But just here, frustrating. Here. No, let's see if we can get around. I'm determined to show you guys. It says we walked this a week ago and this wasn't here. But they're digging stuff up. There's the bit that we need as well. Just here. We're going to climb these stairs and you'll be able to see it. I can see the gravestones through this mesh kind of thing. And it's this patch. It just looks like an area of gravestones. I'm not sure whether you'll get a clear look at this any which way you can. Let's see if we can climb the stairs. Yeah, there you go. Over the top, there's an area of trees, old trees. There's an area here, and there's another area just around the side here that we hopefully will be. Yes, we can see it. Here it is. There's an area here at the back of the cathedral. That's better. Just here. They've turned part of it into a car park. The rest of it used to be graves. They flattened the graves. But beneath the two areas, it's where the plague bodies were buried. And there's 2 or 3 stones, especially on the part that's behind the screens, that have got skull and crossbones on them. Now, people used to say, oh, that's because they're pirates. No, that's all about the plague. That is all about the plague. In the background, you can hear a Benwell ambulance going on.
Lost by 7 wickets against India in the second T20 International, and Ireland beat Scotland 27-24 in Rugby Union's Six Nations. And the Grammys are just about to start in LA. There's no audience this year because of the coronavirus pandemic. Beyoncé is up for the most with 9. From Sky News, I'm Anna Bates.
Thanks, Anna. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits, Radio Northeast. Thank you very much for your company. And the halfway house, let us get as many people on air as we possibly can. We also have some more stars coming out at night. Another good couple for you. Get ready for them. However, let us dive across to Julie and start that off. As soon as I've given you your second clue that could win you a Night Owl's mug. There you go, waiting for you and raising money for Cash for Kids. So, but you can win one, and all you've got to do is work out the name of one person, a person who's had solo hits, solo greatest hits, and you've got to work out their name from 4 clues. The first clue is, this band had greatest hits with Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. Okay, that's 2 of their biggest hits. Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. The second clue is, David Coverdale from Redcar had a band that he created after he left Deep Purple. They had a lot of hits like Is This Love? That I'm Feeling, and Fool for Your Loving, and many more. David Coverdale's band after he left Deep Purple. What was that called? Still in it officially. 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come. The last 2 clues are easiest, but will you be able to work out who links all 4 answers together? That's the conundrum you've got to work out tonight, okay? Let's see how you do. Meanwhile, we promised you Julie in Stanley. Let's go there. Hello, Julie.
Hiya.
Hello, darling. What can we do for you tonight?
I want to tell you about the ghost story.
Oh, let's have it. Good girl.
Aye. And do you know what? I have, been with ghost teams all my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to the Flint Hill Inn.
Right.
It's Dipton.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible place.
Why? What's the matter with it?
Oh, horrible place. We got it back to the 17th century.
Right.
Right. Me daughter got the pub.
Uh-huh.
Right. I'm going to tell you, right.
Go
My
on
daughter got the pub.
Yep.
Then she put CCTV cameras up because it was a very popular pub. So she had to have CCTV cameras up. We watched them, and there was massive orbs coming out the cellar everywhere.
Right.
Huge orbs coming out.
Uh-huh.
Terrifying. And then things would happen, like a jukebox would go on through the night. Different things like that. So then we got the Northeast Paranormal team in with it.
Mm-hmm.
Neppy.
Right.
They came in. They were totally terrified what they found out in that pub. Apparently, it goes back to the 13th century.
Right.
And it was a massive building on there. And things were happening in the pub and that. It was terrible.
So what was the worst thing that happened then?
The worst thing, hey, we had it on camera. In fact, the Neppy team had it on camera.
Yeah.
Orbs coming up, lights going on, fridges going on through the night that weren't switched on and everything.
Right.
In fact, if you ask anybody in Dipton, they were terrified of the pub. They wouldn't come in.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Blimey.
And do you know what? I've been a psychic all my life, and I can instantly tell if something's not right. And in that place, instantly you knew.
Right. So is it still your daughter's pub, or has she moved on from it?
No, it's not my daughter's pub. It's now like a cafe.
All right. Shame.
But they're asking, does anybody know anything that's happened in the pub and that?
Right, well, we'll find out if anybody's been there and seen anything. Did anybody ever see anything there, or was it just orbs?
No, it wasn't just orbs. It was lights coming on,
right.
bridges coming on.
Yeah.
It was like bangs, brain on the wall. Oh, you know what? I've been a medium all my life.
Right.
And instantly, when you go in, you know.
Yeah, you said
and
that.
anybody that goes into that place will know.
I mean, it's got to be the same feeling for the cafe then, is it?
Yeah. And they're asking now why it's going on.
Right.
But we're getting it back that a person that worshipped the devil lived in them houses.
Right.
And I'm not just joking.
Mm-hmm.
You asked the NEPI team.
Right, okay.
In fact, we got the NEPI team in, right? And there were police officers and everything. And they said they have never, ever seen a place that is so active.
Right. Just a shame it's not still the bar, because obviously that seemed to be the place that was busiest. I don't know whether it's changed with the cafe or not.
Because the bar would bring on, like, the more active it is, the more spirits will come in.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that is a place that is a nasty, nasty place.
Right, okay. Well, thank you for telling me about it, Julie. Appreciate your time. Thanks for ringing in.
All right, thank
That's
you.
good. How about that Flint Hill Inn? It no longer exists, but apparently was a nasty place when it did exist. 0191 488 3188. We've got Jake up next. He is from County Durham. Hello, Jake.
Hello, Alan. You all right?
I'm good, mate. Good to talk to you. What are you on about?
I want to talk about Sunderland's winter day, like.
How about that? There's the voodoo finally comes to an end.
Oh, I know. Right. Even with the winter day, I can't predict the good. I can't predict the good final for us still, like.
No.
No.
What's wrong then? I mean, what else do they need to do? Because, first of all, a win's a win, but especially at Wembley, you got a trophy, for heaven's sake.
Oh, of course, I know. The first winner since 73. In 73, I know.
Yeah.
Hey, even since then, but obviously we'll still try, but we'll push on, still try and get the promotion, but I don't know, even with the promotion, if we still get that, I don't know, like.
Do you know, the weird thing was, when Sunderland first went down, first season, every red and white was saying, we're going to bounce back, we'll bounce straight back, we're coming back here, we've got to get back into the Premiership, because frankly, that's where you belong. And it didn't happen, and you slid out the other way, and then everybody's saying, but now we'll bounce straight back into the Championship, and you didn't, and things went just pear-shaped for the club. But hey, do you not think you've got the right manager this time?
I know, Alan. I'd say I knew this from the start. I knew we wouldn't have bounced back straight from the start. I had a feeling about. Once we got relegated, I thought when what do you call him? What do you call him, man? I don't know, sorry.
Which one? I guess you're talking about one of the managers, are you? Oh, Don't know where he's gone, but I almost heard a drum solo briefly, but he's disappeared. Bottom line is, let's just hope that this is a steppy stone to promotion. I would love to think so. They're just an ounce off the pace, but not too far away. That you could turn that around if they applied themselves, and that would be my suggestion. There you go, Jake in County Durham. Now, Dunblane, Uncle Arthur, who's in central Scotland, is on about that. Hello, Arthur.
Yeah, hello, Alan. It's been a very, very long time since you and I spoke. You were on the other station through the window there.
That's right. Mind you, I mean, are you still in Carstairs?
No, I've actually moved slightly further along the road.
Oh, where are you now?
Yeah, I'm in Lanark now. Yes, I'm in William Wallacestown, which I believe you've come to.
Absolutely correct.
On one occasion,
and I remember when we did it. I got back to the studio and you'd sent me an email telling me about the place where his wife haunted, if memory serves.
That's correct, yeah.
There you go, baby. What a... Glad I got that right. Hey, but great to hear. I hope life's going well for you.
It's fantastic and so good to be able to speak to you again. I was just actually pointing out to your producer there that it's been quarter of a century since you were in Dunblane.
Jeepers, really?
It's a very, very long time, and I was actually listening to you, and then I made a trip down to Sunderland to see my girlfriend at the time, and we were talking about that particular programme because she was listening. She was listening as well.
That's good.
Yeah, very good. Right, but that wasn't the reason why I was wanting to call you tonight, Alan. It's just a coincidence that today's that day. But I was wanting to speak to you about things that you would prefer not to have seen.
Right.
I did drop a message, but you were just about to read it.
It was on my screen. It was on my screen. I was just about to read it, and I thought, hell's teeth, I've got an ad break. So I sacrificed you for the ad break. I apologise. So what was it, the thing that you saw that you wished that you hadn't seen then, Arthur?
Well, it's a good job it's after midnight. I think we can get away with this one now because it actually happened at around this time when this incident happened, to be honest.
Right.
And I was out with a female friend, and back in the days when I didn't live in Carstairs, and she used to live in a cul-de-sac. One of those kind of cul-de-sacs, there's like only 3 semi-detached blocks of houses. They're at 90-degree angles to each other. So you know the kind of layout, the very traditional crescent type layout that they have there.
Sure.
So I came into the crescent, turned off the main road, and came into the crescent around about 12:15 at night. And it just so happened that her next door neighbour in the neighbouring semi-detached block was actually putting out his milk bottles.
Right.
Stark naked.
Oh, right.
Not just stark naked, but he was actually, when we caught him doing it, just as I turned into the cul-de-sac, he had actually kneeled down to go and put the milk bottles out his front door. And I don't know if I should really say this on the radio, Alan, but it was actually touching the doorstep.
Oh, wow. Hey, round of applause. That's why kilts are the length they are, you see.
Well, he wasn't wearing one that night, pity, because I tell you how it went, because you know how when these things kind of happen, what normally takes place over a period of seconds can suddenly seem like hours.
Absolutely.
As we were driving further into the crescent, the headlights of my car were actually right on him, and he was frozen on the spot there, realising that he had just been caught.
Yeah, and he's probably thought to himself, there's nobody up this time of night.
Unfortunately. and he was quite literally with his, I mean, really quite literally kneeling down with one milk bottle in his hand and looking up to and seeing me getting closer and closer to him and closer to her driveway. And he couldn't move at all until eventually, what seemed like half an hour, but it was probably only about 5 or 6 seconds or so, as I was just about to go and turn my car into her driveway, he then had the courage to go and stand up, raise his hand in the air, say, "Aye," and then he turned around and walked back into the door.
Oh, no, come on. You've got to give him credit for that. It's a fair cop, aye. And then in he goes. Good on him. Good on him. That's brilliant. Love it.
So glad to make you smile, and it's a very similar story to the one that you had at the first hour of this programme, which had the guy that was naked standing.
Just out on the rocks, yeah.
Out on the rocks in Eyemouth, and that, when I heard that story, I was immediately thinking about Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond sang a song about loving the rocks, and I was thinking that would be very uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, but it looked like he was having love on the rocks by himself, which is not quite the same thing.
Absolutely not.
I don't think Neil had that in mind when he wrote it, that's for sure. Hey, lovely. Great to hear from you, Arthur. Stay well, man. Love to the family, and thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
No problem. Speak to you again
Thanks,
soon.
man. All the best. Bye-bye. Oh, blame. It's a family affair. As Sly and the Family Stone once said, for money. Oh, yeah. That... the whole... Because you do think, I think, that when you're outside your own house, you think that nobody's watching. You don't think neighbours have windows or anything. You never think a car or just a casual passerby might see you. So people come out in their jammies. They come out in next to a dressing gown open with everything kind of waving about. What have you seen that you wish you hadn't seen? Give me a call. 0191 488 3188. Give me a bell. I'd love to hear from you. And isn't it funny, because when Arthur was talking about cul-de-sacs, because of his accent, I love the Scottish accent, cul-de-sac, it makes it sound like how chilly it might be for a Scot if they wear a kilt with nothing underneath. You get a cul-de-sac. Anyway, we move on to Paul, who is in Newcastle upon the Tyne. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing?
Morning, mate. I'm good. Thank you very much. What story you got for us?
Well, on the subject of what you should never see. And it's just such a coincidence because this only happened today.
Hey, great.
And it was in a cul-de-sac. Say no more. So,
or did it just make you sack cul-de? I don't know. Right.
Who knows? Well, basically, we live in a lovely little tree-lined street.
Right.
And there's a house at the end of the street. We've lived here for 4 years, and we've never, ever seen anybody in there. And it's like one of them haunted movies where there's always one street. It's the garden's like a forest, with weeds and everything like that. And me and my partner came back from food shopping this afternoon, and the next thing I heard was, "Oh my goodness!" And I looked and I said, "What's the matter?" And that window. We've always wondered, does anyone actually live there?
Right.
And today we've actually found out they do. And I don't think they have a wardrobe.
Oh, right. Also, there was a bit of naked nudity happening, was there?
Yeah, well, basically there was a large man at the window dancing with no clothes on. So I don't think I can ever unsee that when I drive past.
Yeah, the thing about men dancing is not everything stops when the music does. Do you know what I mean? Some things just keep on moving. That's a fact.
They do. But yeah, the reason why I was calling, I just wanted to share a few pictures I caught about 10 years ago. Me and my friends just like to go on road trips back in the day.
Yeah.
And my friend's father actually just took over Newton Hall up the coast by Alnwick.
Yeah.
So we'll stay there for a night, had a barbecue outside.
Right.
Then we walked down to the Newton, do you know the little white villages on the seafront?
Yeah.
So basically like a little fishing village.
Lovely.
So I had a few drinks there, and on the way back, it was pitch dark. You couldn't see a hand in front of your face. I had a camera in my hand, so I just started taking pictures randomly just so I could see where I was going with the flash.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right. Yeah.
As you do.
But it's not black because there's no street lights and stuff. It's black.
Well, that's it. All you could hear was the wind and the sea in the background.
Yeah.
We didn't know how far we were up this road.
Right.
And it was a good 2 miles. So anyway, we got back to Newton Hall and we're just tucking up for the night. And I thought, I'll have a look at my pictures, what I took during the day, because we watched a live band in the little pub there.
Great.
And I was going through the pictures and everything was just the black road with the yellow lines with a few rain droplets.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I came across this picture. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't yet. Have we got these pics, guys? I'm told we haven't got them. Where did you send them?
Oh, I just sent them over to on Facebook.
Facebook. Oh, on Facebook.
On the Messenger, yeah.
Right, Messenger and Facebook. Oh, Chris has got them. He's just about to send them through to me. So what am I going to see?
Yeah, well, basically what it is, it's white haze. But when you look closer, I'll let you make a decision on what you see, but it looks like an old person from like, the 1700s.
Right.
With like a kind of a black hair parting with like a hood.
Oh, whoa.
You can't tell.
Come on, Chris.
You can't tell if it's a male or female, but it looks like it's got a white beard. But
Right.
when
He's just told me that he sent me an email. I've got my emails out.
Yeah.
And I'm watching. I don't see. Oh, there it is. Oh, good man. Right, bear with me.
No problem.
They're just winding off. I have black screen that says photos at the moment, but you know how long it takes for it to go. Oh, it's lighting up. Oh, there you go. I'm seeing. I presume that's Newton Hall, like a metallic kind of building.
Well, that is along that road. You've got a little kind of a church, and it kind of looks like a shack, like a wooden or a metal building.
Or a metal shack. It does look like that. Hang on, I'll go to the second one because I'm going to get to the right one eventually. Oh, hell's teeth! There's a one that just looks like. Well, you're quite right. My look is it's someone with a hood. It's possibly a beard, or it may just be that there's too much of the energy in the air because it's not smoke because it's got a physical shape. But hang on a second, I'm going to have to pull my mic up and get a closer look at that sucker. First of all, it wasn't raining, I'm guessing.
Well, it was slightly raining, yeah. It wasn't heavy rain, it was just like a slight drizzle.
No, I see it, but sometimes that comes up kind of shiny, so they're not really orbs. You can see they've got a shape as if they're falling to earth. But to me, do you think it looks like a man or a woman?
It's hard to say, really, because the hair kind of looks female, but then when you look at the kind of beard, it looks like more male.
If that's a beard, the only thing that I would say to it, and I've seen a lot of pics, not necessarily of this sort, but there's a lot of energy floating around, but in the middle of it, it may be that those two white shapes, the one that looks like Santa's beard, and then there's like a little...
Yeah.
There's a little... I see. Tony's put them on the screen so that everybody at home that's looking on YouTube or Facebook's getting it too. So if you look underneath it, there's like a beard that comes out from the chin, but there's like a secondary beard at the side. Did you see it kind of hanging down? Now, that style of kind of beard thing in old Jewish rabbis I've seen with similar kinds of things. But on seeing that, I'm not even sure that that's part of what the thing is, but that's definitely a hood. I don't think you've got any doubt about that. It's actually clearer on the picture that Tony's put on the
I do have the what you could call straight off the memory card onto my computer, but my computer's up in the loft somewhere.
No worries.
When you zoom in on the actual computer copy, because Facebook kind of distorts it anyway.
Sure.
When you zoom in, the face actually turns into a skull.
Give over.
Yeah, I'll have to email them over to you.
Bang that through to me, and that's really interesting. So, hey, thank you for that. That's what a great shot. I'm looking at we're looking at the road, the yellow lanes leading up, which is exactly what you'd expect if you fire a flash off in the middle of the night.
I sent that one over just as a kind of saying this is what I took at the same time.
Yeah, but what's that in the middle of everything? Because first of all, to me, I've mentioned a few times that sometimes fog, you can see people shapes in fog.
Yeah.
And they're fairly people shaped. You know, it's not. It is what it says on the tin. They're people shaped damn things. But that kind of energy, because if you took 10 photographs that looked like two yellow lanes on a dark night, you shrug your shoulders and you go, well, that's exactly what you would expect if you took 10 photographs in the rain on a dark night. You'd get that, but you don't expect right in the middle of it a poof of energy, and it makes you wonder, because when you take the picture of a church as well,
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
are the two things connected? Was it somebody that, was it like a monk, or was it a priest, or was it, a
That's
nun?
what I start. Yeah, possibly. Well, that's what I start piecing together, because on the second picture that you've seen, next to the gate, I don't know if you can. It's not very clear, this one, but you can see an outline of a figure, as you said before.
Oh, hang on a second. Is this the one with the churchy building on?
With the church, yeah, you've got the black gate and the wall.
Now, I would say that there's a hint of hood, like V-shape, just beside the concrete wall on the right-hand side.
That's right, yeah, that's it. And you can see the shape, very slight shape of the legs and a bit of an arm.
And it's no, I've got it. Yeah. I saw it the last time, and I was thinking, that's not amazing. But if you look around the rest of it, yes, there's an orb or two, fair enough.
Yeah.
But, and I mean proper orbs, not just rain things. There's a couple of proper orbs there. One to the left of the window with a crucifix in it, and the other one at the bottom of the V of the door that are fairly clear. It's just that bit of, and you could say, is it smoke? I don't believe it's smoke. I think it's energy, but it's energy that takes a shape. And the more you look, the more you find. And I mean, I know you did it just. You had your camera with you, so you might as well. But it's amazing what you get when you least expect it, because that's brilliant. You've done really well, man.
It is, thank you. It's like you said on Thursday night, it's not always in a haunted castle or anything like that.
No,
it's
absolutely.
just wherever you're around. And I wasn't out looking for ghosts that night. I was literally taking a picture, and it appeared on my camera. So it was just a chance thing, really.
Brilliant. Absolute result. Well done. And thanks. I always like it best when you share it, because it brings you, because you can talk about, I've caught something, and everybody at home goes, nah. But when you can actually see it, and I don't know what else you could say about that, because that's a face, whichever way you dress it up.
You just can't get around it. You could either say, I think I've seen some kind of shadow, but when you zoom in, the face turns into a skull. And
well, you've got to send me that additional one when you do, if you would. That'd be brilliant.
That'll be fine, yeah.
Love
and
to see
also, I've got another story
go on then.
when I stayed in Newcastle.
Right, yeah.
I just stayed in Newcastle because I heard about it, that it was one of the most haunted places in the UK.
Absolutely.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to stay there, but I'm going to do one better. I'm going to stay in the most haunted room.
Great.
The one below the bell tower.
All right, yes.
And when they showed us up into the apartment area, they said there's one door locked and you can't get in there.
Right.
So I thought, okay, fair enough. We had 2 bedrooms anyway, so we just sat there and had a look around. And I had my camcorder. Back in the day when I had my camcorder, and I was just doing a little tour of the apartments, and I pointed it to this door where we later found that there was a boy buried in the
fireplace. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And my camcorder went dead, and the door handle shook. Like there was somebody on the other side, so I just couldn't explain that either. So I couldn't.
Well, they normally don't let people. We've done a few TV shows there, and we've done a few radio shows, a lot of radio shows at Chillingham, because it's on the doorstep. And well, why the hell wouldn't you? But they normally don't let people into the room with the chimney.
Yeah.
Now, the full story of the boy up the chimney was, back in the day, the people who owned Chillingham wanted to. This is not John Sage the torturer, who's the ghost that most people mention.
Yeah.
He's known as the Blue Boy, the guy up the chimney, and the young lad apparently was working at the castle, just scraping up rubbish and helping the kitchen staff and what have you, and he was up delivering some food to the King Edward room that you probably visited.
Yeah.
It's the one with the balcony that goes along the top.
That's right.
There was some people in there, and they were talking about overthrowing the British or the English throne by teaming up with the Spanish. And they were doing a deal with the Spanish so that when the Armada came over, they had the key to Scotland, in other words, a big castle that would be loyal to the Spanish, that they could use as a base to conquer Scotland after they'd already conquered England with this massive armada that was due to sail. And we know that it wasn't successful, but it was a huge armada of ships. And if it hadn't really been for the weather, we would have been screwed. However, the young lad heard them talking about it, so he decided he was going to run off to another castle and try and get himself down to Alnwick if he could, to warn everybody. The people at Chillingham are trying to get rid of the Queen on the throne, and he took some documents that he'd found. Well, they caught him, and they couldn't publicly do anything with him because they were trying to keep a secret. So instead, they walled him up in a chimney. And the chimney they opened up in about the middle 1800s, because we're talking a lot earlier than that, obviously. But in the middle 1800s, they opened the chimney up. And about 10 years ago, they let me in the room. And you do that thing where you stick your bum on the wall and you walk up.
Well, that's exactly how I was, like, just walking past the door.
But I walked up the chimney, because it is wide enough, and you get up about 12, 14 feet, and you can see where somebody's been clawing, and you can't imagine what it must have been like to know that the guys first of all, you can't get to the top because the top's closed off. You can't set a fire in it, so the top's been closed off, and they've put you in there, and now they're sealing up and concreting the bottom. And
unbelievable.
How long is it going to take you to die? A week? A month?
Easy, yeah.
Whoa, doesn't
horrible,
bear thinking
horrible
about.
Way to die.
But they've got him out anyway. He's not in there anymore. But but that's where he went, and that was the room next door to the one that you stayed in. How cool
That's right, yeah, because there was a bedroom to the, I don't know if you remember, there's a bedroom to the right of it.
Yes,
I wouldn't stay in there. I stayed at the one in the front.
Did you get a chance to go walking along the torture chamber and round to the various other places of the castle?
We did, yeah. We had a pass of the full castle just before it opened.
Right.
But I just remember lying on the grass. Do you know when you at the front of the castle, you've got like the grass and you've got the little mound. I remember just lying there on my stomach, just looking at the castle. Then
amazing, isn't it?
You just seeing everybody disappear and thought, right, this is real now. I'm actually here. I'm going and my friends.
Yeah, for sure. And the great thing about it is, next time you're there, maybe, if you turn around and look as if you're standing on the steps leading up to the castle door, and you look out, you've got the moat thing that goes down, and then you've got the little doorway that looks like it's going into an abbey, but the abbey's gone, and it takes you into the witchy wood where they used to pin witches to trees, and a lot of their bodies are buried in the mounds that's to the right-hand side just as you go through the door. And that witchy wood has 2 ley lines that cross beside a tree just off the path. So sometimes you're walking through and you get that feeling where all the hair on the back of your neck goes... It's amazing. I mean, it's just an amazing place. It's got
I'll have to give that a go.
It's got a lot of stuff going. And also, if next time you're there, something else for you to do, because this is why it's the castle that just keeps giving, in my opinion.
Definitely.
If you walk to the left-hand side, the castle door's in front of you. If you walk to the left-hand side as far as you can till you get to the end of the wall, get to the end of the building, just walk north from there.
Okay.
There's a tiny little track, and it takes you up to a lake. It's about probably a 10-minute walk, maybe it's a little bit more, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. It takes you to a lake. But back in the day, when they were torturing people and fighting the Scots, it just used to be a bog. And what they used to do with the people that had ended up dying in the cells, they'd put them on carts, they'd cart them up to the bog, and rather than dig a grave, which is a lot of effort, 6 foot under for a body, instead they just used to go to the bog, sink them in it, and walk away. And since then, they've filled it up. But when they first made it into a lake, which was early 1900s, they were finding fingers and skulls and bits of leg. Because when the deep water came in, it brought a lot of the stuff up to the surface. So.
Right.
great.
So just another fascinating place.
No, it is.
It
Definitely.
looks bonny now, but if you go there late at night when the mist's crossing the water, that's another
Just
thing.
at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, but I'm so glad you've been. So glad you've been, and especially when you got something as well. Because I always think if you go to a place and you don't get a thing, then it's just, well, what a waste of money that was. But it's not like Ghostbusters. You don't always see a ghost chewing a hot dog, like you did in the film. It's
exactly. It's
not quite the
just
same.
that little thing that just makes it all worthwhile, really.
Absolutely, 100%. Hey, well, lovely talking to you. Thank you for coming on, Paul, and thanks for your pictures. Loved them. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you very much. Take
Cheers,
care.
man. How good was that? You got any pictures? Share them with us, for heaven's sake. Going to take a quick song, I think. Yeah, definitely. Let's have a little bit of Daryl Hall and John Oates. But first of all, let's find out, well, what they think of each other.
What I want to find out about, though, is how come the pair of you haven't been rolling around fighting each other? You've been together on and off for such a long period of time. How come you haven't badly bruised each other yet?
You mean physically?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We won't talk about the emotional scars.
Yeah. No. We, it's us against the world. Really, that's it. We have very, very few differences, and we spend a lot of time apart as well as together. But musically, we are very much together. And even if we do separate things or do go in slightly different directions for certain periods, whenever we resume, it's always as if nothing happened. We tend to develop on both emotionally, everything on and creatively on very parallel lines.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to start picking on you now because you've just said me and you against the world. Well, I'm afraid, obviously, I'm part of the world, and
somebody already wrote that.
I just think that if you two were looking after each other, how do you explain some of the outfits you've worn over the year?
I know. Well, we didn't have any mirrors. We couldn't afford mirrors in the old days. We were struggling. We had to buy guitar strings.
We're part of that Amish sect in Pennsylvania that doesn't have mirrors.
I think it was the phase of the white shoes that I was never fully certain of.
That was pretty scary, wasn't it? Well, we can only apologize for anything that happened in the 80s.
This is one of the most haunted places in the city. So many people have sighted things. And also, it's not pretty when they put a skip in the way as well. But if you tootle along here, there is something that's featured in the Da Vinci Code. It's on one of these doors. Which one is it? It's the vampiric. The vampire rabbit was along here somewhere. Where is it? Well, there he is. There's the vampiric rabbit. A lot of people say, I went down there and I couldn't find him. He's hiding, but he's up there. And for those of you that are interested in the Da Vinci Code, look at the architecture around it as well. It's linked very closely with the Freemasons who built that place. And if you remember, those of you that have long memories, or if you're new to us, let me just tell you that there's a place on the outskirts of Prague, 50 miles from Prague, called Kutna Hora. It's bone cathedrals. We've got an awful lot of photographs of Kutna Hora on the robsonsworld.com website if you want to check out some pictures. They made an entire church of human bones. We did a ghost hunt there. We'd love to take you too, eventually, provided we get the support and the shares that we need. As you'll imagine, every dark street in a city has a whole host of potential for disaster, let's say. But along here, there was a carriage that was once robbed, and it was around the time of Burke and Hare. And it was said that the reason that the coach was stopped down here was because it had the body of a rich man's daughter in one of the trunks that was being sent from here, the centre of the city, up to Edinburgh to be dissected and used for medical experimentation. So lovely when you see the steam flying. The thing about that is, if you're ghost hunting, there's lots of things that you can do. And I'll teach each and every one of you this if you come with us to do the ghost hunts. The point of what we're doing is, instead of
me talking about what I see, you'll see it. You'll be able to tell people what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. But when I'm talking about the steam, dust, talcum powder has been used since about 1880 to show spirit. And the idea is you spray, especially if there's a little bit of wind, you would spray talcum powder, say, or a similar substance into the wind, and quite often it catches the shapes of individuals or spirit. So something else maybe is worth trying that you haven't already done yet. We've got 1,000 little tips on how to catch spirit on camera. Another great way of looking at the cathedral, you can't see it at night, but around the clock you've got that beautiful red and gold thing. You got to remember that the cathedral housed Scottish prisoners when it was being attacked by the Scots, and they were so unhappy with the damage that the Scots did that they left the prisoners to die in the crypt of that cathedral. And even now it's said that many people hear the moans and the groans, but that's again something else that we'd love to investigate with you. Just up to the right, you've got the big market, not strewn with drunken bodies tonight because of the current restrictions, obviously. And down there was a stall holder. There's a story. First of all, there's the most famous ghost story in Newcastle up the big market, which is the Scotsman who ended up killing somebody, and you can still see the bullet hole in the wall. I could show you that if we do a ghost hunt of this neck of the woods. Remember, it's not just Newcastle we're going to be doing. We intend to be everywhere. We intend to be in all directions, all over the country, and hopefully all over the world, to do as much as we can to show you as many amazing stories. Drury Lane, the story of the hanged man. There's a tiny little lane there full of dustbins at the moment, which is not much of a tribute to a man who raised an awful lot of money for his family. The bells are ringing, summoning the dead tonight, maybe. Well, down there, right at the very, very end, attached to a window down Drury Lane, a man hanged himself. He was a businessman. His business failed. He couldn't look after his children. They were told his wife and children were going to be thrown out on the streets. And in shame, the man hanged himself right down that lane. So an awful lot of scooters fleeing about because there's, frankly, little else.
This is the home of Alan Robson's Night Owls.
With the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio. Alan Robson with you. We got 2 clues down. The first clue is this band had greatest hits with Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. Second clue, David Coverdale's band. David, of course, used to work in a clothes shop in Redcar. David Coverdale's band that he created after he left Deep Purple. They had hits like Is This Love, Fool for Your Loving, Ready and Willing, and various other things. And they didn't have a hit with Lie Down, I Think I Love You, but they should have done. Anyway, so that's 2 clues down. 2 more clues to come. You'll get the next one in about 15 minutes, and you get the last one in about 35 minutes. So you're nearly there. So hang on in there if you can. Meanwhile, let's go and talk to Trevor. He's in Gateshead. Hi, Trevor.
Hello, me.
Hello to you. What can we do for you, Trev?
Well played to the Macklins for winning the pizza trophy.
Right.
What about our assist club, mate? Honestly, I can't believe it. They like the state we are in now. Brighton next weekend as well.
Yeah, which is a 6-pointer at anybody's level. The thing about when Callum Wilson joined, and we bought the lad from Norwich, and we bought Callum, the guy that usually sets Callum Wilson up with goals, you think this is going to make a difference. And then, of course, we've had injury after injury with Callum. He's back, but he's not fully match fit yet. I think you can tell. But have they got enough to stay up? Because I think it's touch and go, mate.
We haven't, mate. Now it's like Mike Ashley again. This is going to be the 13th time we are going to go down, like. And I don't know what his game is like. I mean, Alan Maximum's out.
Yeah.
Miggy's out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you say, Wilson's out, mate. But honestly, mate, it's just every season, it's the same shit. He's gambling on keeping up.
It looks like, though, it's how little can I spend and keep them in the division? Instead of saying, how can we build the club and make it strong and safe? Because Newcastle for a while were bouncy and they were very close. And, we just missed it. But next season we'll not. And you need them to be a solid. You need them to be an Everton, really. You know, they're going to be always in the middle, and they're going to be able. And every now and then they're going to get a real run for it and a challenge. You want to be safe first, though, and Newcastle are far from safe now. It's looking precarious.
It's a goal difference, so Alan, as well. Do you know what I mean, mate?
Absolutely.
My goal difference.
Yeah, it's terrifying. If it's between two teams on similar points, Newcastle are going down. There's no question about it.
Well, now the thing is, though, mate, I think it's going to go down to the last game of the season. Like, and we've got Fulham on the last day.
Oh, what a game. And mind you, there is an outside chance. They're talking about maybe letting people into the stadium. Having the fans behind Newcastle changed the whole proposition, because the St James's full house can suck a ball into the net, but it hasn't helped the whole lockdown business.
You know Steve Bruce's face, though, like the last few games.
Yeah.
Is it not like deja vu with Steve McLaren? You know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
You're looking at his face and he's huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
And he's... honestly, mate, it's shocking. And I'm not going to blame the manager, even though I think Steve Bruce is crap, sorry.
Right.
But it's not his fault.
I'm glad you're not going to criticise him anyway. No, honestly. It's just like him and Steve McLaren. The only one that, like... Yeah. There's a similar feeling around the place as well,
The only one that got respect was Alan Pardew. And loads of the fans were slating him, and I was right behind him, when everybody was saying he was actually his puppet and all that.
Yeah. No, I had time for Alan Pardew. He did a decent job for the club, I think.
But mate, I think what goal difference has got to take. We're doing
let's. And I know a lot of people want to see the back of Steve Bruce, but who's better out there that would come to St James's? Because Rafa obviously was the one that most Newcastle fans, I think, wanted to keep. And I think it was just down to money and backing, and it didn't happen, and he walked, and I'm not surprised. But who else?
That's another good question, mate. Nobody would come to the table. Even Alan Shearer said that. Alan Shearer, Steve Bruce's good mate, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he told him not to take the job before he took it. And even Shearer's had the job.
Yeah. Mind you, he didn't have a proper crack, Alan Shearer. At the time, he took it on to try and stave them off relegation, but they were too far gone, weren't they, really?
I definitely, mate, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But we are down to the last 10 games now, and that was the same situation. McLaren had 12 games left, I think.
Yeah.
It was 11 or 12. Shearer only had 9.
Yeah.
So poor Alan had 9 fucking...
No, don't drop an Effie. We cannot have that. Trev, move on. Thank you very much for calling. 0191 488 3188. Apologies for a word you probably all hear every day. But we don't have them on this show as a rule, so my apologies to you. 0191 488 3188. Quick piece of music, and then we'll get Rich from Stockton. I beg your pardon? Oh, I beg your pardon. I see. I'm being corrected. We do have time for Rich. Let's go there instead. Hello, Rich.
Hello, Alan. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much for joining in.
Good. I'm still here, still listening. I'm a big YouTuber with you now. You know, I'm on the YouTube every week listening to you and passing me comments on there, and it's great. And I found you on the Facebook, and I watched, your Thursday night thing. I watched, and I've been talking to your Chris, finding out how to subscribe and everything, and having a good chat.
Bless you. Thank you.
No, really into that. I can't wait for that to start.
Good.
Looks like it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
We're going to try. Certainly.
Yeah, let's hope all this lockdown carry on ends very, very soon. But,
well, we'll be able to do a lot more when that's the case. In the meantime, we're trying to stay away from people. Even if we're in a city centre, you got to keep away from people.
I know, I noticed it really was literally like a ghost town when you were walking about.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's the way we're going to get to the next step, and that's what it has to be, for sure.
I can't wait till it. I've got to say, I can't wait till it all ends, all this carry on. But a few comments these politicians keep making, I'm thinking, when's it going to happen?
Well, it was just the thing that I read today that was the scariest thing, and it's Boris saying the figures aren't improving quite as well as he wanted them to, so they might have to do an extra 6 months lockdown from June. Now, whoa. March, April, May, June. So hang on, whoa. Yeah. That's 9 months more.
I know, and what threw the tin hat on it with me, I don't know, that, I think he's called Grant Snaps.
Oh, yeah.
Grant Craps. Am I allowed to say that?
Too late, said, I think. Right, okay.
Yeah, sorry. It's not bad, I know what I can get away with. He said something on an interview a few days ago. He said, I wouldn't be booking all your summer holidays for just after June the 21st yet if I were you. He said, nothing's guaranteed. And like all these interviewers saying, well, he said you were going around lockdown. He said he wanted to. He never guaranteed anything.
No, that's true. That's true.
Which in fairness, he didn't. And I mean, I've seen on the news today, Italy's getting bad again, going back into lockdown, and Isle of Man looks like it's in trouble again.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's it's certainly not going away, and Isle of Man's not that far away from us, really. It's part of us, isn't it, really?
No, the scary thing is that hope is a wonderful thing, and positivity is a wonderful thing, and I'm loaded full of both. I want us to achieve and get on and break free and get your life back and cuddle your friends and shake hands without people disapproving and all of that kind of stuff. But we've got to do it right so that we don't keep bouncing in and out of bloody lockdowns. That's the truth of it.
I know. Because, I mean, I seen the other interview with him. It was maybe a week ago, and said, would you close schools again? I mean, he said there's no going back, reversing and all that. He said we guarantee 100% if you close schools again. Would you say? He said everything's on the table.
Yeah, but this is the same people that last year said, well, we've had the lockdown. We're certainly never going to go back to that again. Yeah. And this is the third one. So just realise these people say things, but they mean them at the moment, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're chapter and verse.
Do you know, if he come out of lockdown and everything, like you said, by 21st of June, would he be, I know it's the government, but would he be, allowed to go into lockdown again if he wanted to? Would he be allowed to do that?
Well, I think the rest of the Tory party would fight against it because the backbenchers have already kicked up a bit of a rebellion about it, saying, well, look, if the first lockdown didn't work and the second lockdown didn't work, what makes you think a third or a fourth lockdown's going to work? And if you look at the figures, have they really gone down as much as they wanted them to? I'm not sure that they really have. And then we heard last week, well, we're just going to have to get through it and live with it. It's always going to be with us. And then a doctor friend of mine told me, they're already working on a vaccination that covers flu and COVID. So you'll get a dual injection. Next time people offer you the flu one, it'll cover you for COVID as well. And that'll be the future. And everybody that's at risk will be offered the chance to take it year after year after year. And most people who are relatively fit and healthy won't take it at all. So, but that's where we were if we hadn't locked down at all, is where we're. So you could argue that it's been handled horrifically, but a lot of people believe, wow, but it had to be handled that way to save lives. I don't know whether they've saved lives. I can't tell.
I know. There's a hell of a lot of people died. And I
don't know.
That thing about the extra 6-month lockdown, I've seen that somewhere on the internet, and it was quoted back to Boris Johnson. I thought, that can't be true, that. But now you said it, I mean, really, if you say it, I know there's a good chance it's true if you say it. You know what I mean?
Boris said it, and he said just that he wants to make sure that the numbers go down enough so that we don't keep skimming across lockdown after lockdown after lockdown. However, 3 lockdowns that have any of them, can anybody really say at the end of the lockdown, well, that really achieved? Because I'm not sure they can, that's the thing.
I know. Well,
people are conditioned to wear the masks, which is good, and they're conditioned to keep their distance. And in America, they're saying once everybody's been juked, everybody's going to get injected by the end of May, apparently. Every human being in America over the age of 16 by May, which is amazing. That's like 1.5 million people a day, which is incredible. And they're saying, all the holidays in July will be back to normal this year. And now all the bars and the pubs and the theme parks and stuff are getting ready to reopen for June. And I think that's what will happen in America. And yet they started 2 months behind us.
Yeah.
And now they look like they're going to be finished possibly 5 to 6 months before we do, which makes you beg a whole heap of questions. But the bottom line is it's been hellish for everybody. Economically, it's been disastrous. But hey, it is what it is.
Let's hope the end's in sight. Anyway, a couple of quick points.
I tell you what, I've just noticed the time is horrific and we're real close to the news and a quick break. Can you stay? Can we put you on hold and we'll...
Yes, okay, I'll
hang
wait
on in there, because it's not fair to you that we should cut you short. We'll have part 2 of Rich from Stockton, his story, after this.
We've already got some plans for the next couple of weeks that I think will really excite you. We're starting proper week after next, but we need you to summon the troops from around the world, everybody you know, make sure they know. Now, just along here, hang on. Woo! If you could look, we'll be going there eventually, so don't panic. I'm just trying to remind you of all the places that things have happened. If you walk down here it is, you find some long stairs. Is it that one? No, it's this one. You go down here. We're just walking in what appears to be a bit of a circle. And you know why? Because it's a bit of a circle. I just don't want you to miss some of the more important things. We're not telling you the whole story. We've got the whole story of all of these things. But we want to do each one individually so we can suss it out. And if there's spirit there to be seen, let's see it. I mean, even when we're traveling tonight through the city, there may well be things that you spot. And if you say anything, make sure you report it. Everybody that has an eye on anything should be looking and checking and seeing. A lot of people think you're only ever going to see a ghost in a castle or a stately home. That's not true. You can see them anywhere, more commonly in people's own homes. And that's another thing. If you have a house that's haunted, tell me what it is. Give us the keys. Stay at your mum's when you can. We'll go in, do the whole thing. We'll interview you in the process. We'd love your stories, and we'd love to see if there is anything there. And if there is, we'll find it and hopefully maybe be able to do something about it if we can. As you know, I qualified as an exorcist many moons ago. Don't get as much practice to do it as I have in the past, but I'm keen to get back to all of that again. Remember, the more you share, the more you support, the more we can do. And the more that I say we can do, I mean you and I. We're the team now. Let's make sure we get it done. Walking down here, and my team will be Hollywood Tony McShane, if you can remember him from our past affairs. He will be head camera person. He is today. We're keeping our distance, and he's masked. And also Chris will be joining us eventually, but obviously at the present moment, we're only allowed 2 people, so we are following whatever rules we really have to do. You come down here, somebody's giggling. Or are they? There's still some people out. Right down here, you see, now we could have just walked down there. But I wanted to get the Tyne Bridge and all the other things. But when you walk down here, you'll see the Vermont that we maybe saw the sign for when we were up beside the Castle Keep, because we're coming down here. And whether you realize it or not, some of the most beautiful places on earth that we've taken you to, places like the San Francisco Bridge, places like the Eiffel Tower, they're the world's 2 biggest suicide spots. And this is another one. Not just this part of the bridge, but obviously the Tyne Bridge itself. This part of the bridge here, surprisingly, you would think, well, surely if anybody was going to do that, they'd go to the river maybe. But no, this is one of the most common places, tragically, for people to lose their lives. And it's said that on quiet nights, especially when it's foggy, you see figures walking through fog here, and there's actually nobody there, up some of the dark lanes that you see from side to side. The one that leads up there to the Surtees. Little dark lanes, but when the fog comes in, when the sea fret hits, you get all kinds of things like that. There's our security team. Look at that. This is the reason that we've come down here. And as I say, it is a circle from where we've just been. This is amazing. If you think I'm climbing it this time of night, you've got absolutely no chance at all. But this is the legendary Dog Leap Stairs. The Bessie Surtees.
Comfortable towards the end. We had a few decent chances, to be fair, to finish the game off, but we don't like it to make it easy for ourselves. We make it hard for ourselves.
Arsenal beat Tottenham 2-1 in the North London derby, while Leicester thrashed Sheffield United 5-0. Brighton won 2-1 at Southampton. Ireland ended Scotland's hopes of winning Rugby Union's Six Nations, beating them 27-24 at Murrayfield. And England's cricketers lost their second T20 fixture with India by 7 wickets. And Megan Thee Stallions won Best New Artist at the Grammy Awards. The ceremony, altered this year because of the coronavirus pandemic, is underway in LA. Harry Styles kicked off the show. From Sky News, I'm Anna Bates.
You are with the big one. 01914 488 3188. Britain's most listened to, waiting for a call from you. And we'd love you to do that. We're in the middle of a conversation with Rich, but just before we do that, I'm going to give you the third clue so you can get puzzlifying. Clue number 1, this band had greatest hits with Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. What's the name of that band? Second clue, David Coverdale from Redca's band that he created after he left Deep Purple. 2 clues down. Third clue, Ozzy Osbourne's old band. Ozzy Osbourne's old band. 3 clues. 1 more clue to come. You'll have that within the next 20 minutes. Meanwhile, as promised, Rich, back in Stockton. You had a few things for us, Rich. Go for it.
Yes, I'll be very quick because I know you've probably got quite a lot wanting to be on. Okay.
No worries.
You were talking earlier about things you wish you'd never seen. Here's a good one for you.
Yes.
When I was little, about 5 or 6 year old, I've told you this before, I used to live near the Club Fiesta, and I wish I'd never seen and never run after with me mates shouting, "Can I be in your gang, Gary?"
Right.
You know what I mean, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, and that's true. That I lived right next door to it, and used to see him out. It was massive in the early 70s when I was growing up. Used to see him going in. We used to all run after him, shouting, screaming, and that in his silver suit and everything, you know. And but that's gone. Just a quick one. Sorry to hear about Murray Walker's passing, and also the great Marvin Hagler.
Yes.
I've seen that on the news as well. Very, very sad. Your Grizzly Tales, I'm absolutely loving them. I heard about the Rasputin one, you know, on that one you've just done. It was spooky. And one last thing, I just want to tell you, you've got 2 new listeners over in Eastern Europe in Moldova.
Oh, wow.
My good friends, I've told you about them before, you know, Natalia and Sergio in Moldova.
Right.
Yeah,
it's lovely. Thank you.
You've got them listening tonight.
That's
so
great.
I just wanted to say hello to them.
Well, hang on. How do you say hello in Moldovan then?
Salut Natalia, si Sergio, bayat bun fatabuna.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So, hey, thank you very much, and love to Moldova as well. Thanks for coming on. Great to hear from you, Rich.
And you, take care, Alan.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye. Oh, nice guy. And we've got Moldova listening. That's good. Share and share. Let's spread the word as far as we can, and then we'll go further and see more, experience more. That's the plan. One more clue to come. 10, 15 minutes to go. We've got Julie, who's in South Shields. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
What are you talking about tonight?
Well, I've got a couple of ghosts in my house. I have done I've been here 20 years.
Right.
And I've had quite a few funny experiences where I think one of them was I had a young girl in the house. She'd been in for months and months. She was only about 8-year-old.
Right.
And
so what kind of things were happening when you had her there then?
She was there constantly, following us all the time. So you would see her sitting in the chair, and she would follow us up the stairs. Nothing horrible.
Right.
But I've had quite a mixture of things. But
Is she still there, or has she gone?
No, well, it went on for months and months, and she had like a little, quite like an old-fashioned dress and that on, and she had tiny little gold-rimmed glasses on, and I kept seeing her for ages. And anyway, I went to see a spiritualist, and the spiritualist actually mentioned her.
Wow.
And she said it's your grandpa's sister. I said, my grandpa hasn't got a sister. And she said, he had. I said, there hasn't. I said, there was only the two brothers.
Right.
And anyway, my nana was like, I really wanted to ask her, and she was really didn't believe in anything like that. And it wasn't until she'd been quite poorly.
Uh-huh.
So we were going through all the photos now, because she had loads of old photos.
Right.
And there was an old-fashioned book.
Yeah.
And I opened this book, and here was a picture of the girl.
Oh, wow.
But she didn't have the glasses on.
Right.
And I was dying to ask her, and then I said, look at Nana, I said, I know you're going to say that. I explained to her what I'd seen.
Mm.
And she just sat there and she went, Judy, that's your grandpa's sister. I was like, eh?
So she didn't make it, though. She died young.
Yeah, but one of the boys was swinging around by the arms,
Right.
by the hands,
Uh-huh.
and they let loose of her, and she fell and she hit her head.
Right.
And her eyes actually went into the corner, so that was where the glasses came from.
Right.
The little gold rimmed glasses to straighten her eyes up.
Right.
And then it was about a few months later, and she actually died. But then after that, I never saw her again.
But what's the chance? Isn't it strange? Because it's like you needed to know the truth, and then as soon as you knew the truth, she didn't need to be there anymore. She just wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to be known, I suppose.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
and then after that, I'd been in the house, and I kept smelling smoke all the time.
Right.
And there was a few nights that I was actually woken up by a man that kept saying, there's going to be a fire, you need to get out of the house. You need to get out of the house. And it was one Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I'd come down the stairs, and I could see just loads of smoke, but it was like a smouldering smell that I could smell.
Right. Yeah.
And I'd shouted for all the kids not to get up, and I was like, look, I can smell smoke, I can feel there's going to be a fire.
Right.
Oh, don't be daft. And I told them obviously that had happened.
Yeah.
And then on that, I'd gone into the kitchen, I've got like a pantry.
Uh-huh.
And when I got into the kitchen, opened the pantry door, it was up and flame, it was a light. And it was actually the electrical that had actually been smouldering. And that's what
right. Yeah.
But then when I spoke to eventually when we got sorted, because I was on a loop, so I had to knock the next door neighbours.
Sure.
Off, while they sorted it out.
Sensible. Yeah.
And I'd said to her, but there was loads of stuff, and it's actually still happening at the minute, but it's with my son coming from his bedroom. But my house, and I said to her, I said, the people before me, I said, has there actually been anybody that died in the house? And she went, yes, there was. In your bedroom where you sleep now, and they'd actually had, it was a family member, and he'd fallen asleep in the bedroom with a cigarette, and he actually died in the house.
Right. Oh, hell.
But then after that, I never heard nothing again. But my house this house is actually built on. When I looked into it further, this actually used to be like a little church. before my house was here.
Right,
And I've had
small, like
Yeah,
a local
I've
chapel
really-
kind of place. The thing that's interesting with this is, obviously, your ghostly experience with the guy who was saying there's going to be a fire, there's going to be a fire, there's going to be a fire. First of all, that's usually family that would do that. I mean, and you've already had the family thing with the little girl.
Quite a few, yeah.
The guy, did he have? Was he modern dress? Was he old fashioned dress? What was he wearing?
He was actually in jeans and a top, and he was actually quite scruffy looking.
Right.
He was.
So we're talking somebody that was on the planet, because jeans, they weren't big style till late 50s, really, early 60s. That's when jeans started to happen, big style.
Yeah.
So this guy hasn't been dead that long then. I mean, have you lost anybody that it could be?
Well, it was actually, he actually lived, I think it's definitely him, and I think it was him that had actually lost his life in the fire in the house.
Oh,
that was the year
wow.
before.
So you see, but if that's the case, that makes you think, oh, well,
Like
there's
a
not
woman.
going to be a fire because he just died in a fire. Maybe he's...
Yeah, it was odd, but he was like kind of worn with because I never saw him again after either. After I got up that Sunday morning, that happened.
Do you know
But
what? There's a similar kind of thing. Holy Island. You know Holy Island. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, we go there a lot.
Holy Island, very nice. But you know that there's like a little village there, and there's a place with a tourist shop and a little cafe and things.
Yeah.
That row, I'm going back kind of 1950s, early 60s. Can't remember the precise date, but that's round about there. There was a major fire, and a woman...
Yeah,
And the woman said, and it spread to a few of the houses, and the one that it started in, electrical fire, incidentally, because the electrics then were not quite as sophisticated as the ones we got now, even though they still go up. But electrical fire in the cupboard where the meter was, singeing, the wires weren't working terribly well, and this guy ran into the bedroom and shook her, and he was dressed in a pair of like knee-length boots, cavalier-style cap with a feather in it, and red jacket, big bulbous nose apparently, and he woke this woman up and said, you got to get out, there's a fire. She woke up and she wasn't really aware of much, but there was a bit of smoke, so she got her kids up, got out, did exactly what you did, knocked on the the doors side to side, and another woman down the street saw the guy and thought there must be somebody on the way to a fancy dress party or something. He's dressed kind of like a cavalier. It was actually someone who was a sea captain. They later discovered, because there's a picture of them in a museum in Alnwick of the guy who used to be a sea captain who lived on Holy Island with a big bulbous nose.
My dad was a captain at sea.
Isn't that what a coincidence? But this was 200 years earlier, so this was not a living captain that woke him up.
Yeah.
And they're all saying, well, how can he possibly wake me up? He's been dead for like 170 years. So, but it's just fascinating that somebody came to wake them up.
Yeah.
Somebody came and woke you up.
Yeah.
Amazing. So your dad was a sea captain?
My dad was captain of Merchant Navy, yeah.
Wow.
So were all my granddads, my uncles.
Brilliant.
There's actually somebody in the house at the minute, and I think it's the young boy.
Right.
Because I've got a youngster, and he's got a few like problems and stuff, like learning difficulties and stuff like that, and he tends to get up through the night. And for about the last 3 months now, I've been in bed and I've heard him getting up. Well, I thought I've heard him getting up.
Yeah.
Going into the bathroom, and I'm shouting, "Come on, what are you doing? Get yourself back in the bed." No answer. But then I've actually seen something coming past the door, thinking it was him.
It's not him.
I get out of bed. I go to check. He's actually sound asleep.
Yeah.
And then somebody keeps walking from his room into the bathroom, but I think it's definitely a youngster. And that's been going on for quite a while as well, and you can hear them walking around the house.
Has he done any of that invisible friend thing? Has he done any talking to people?
They have done when they were little.
Right.
But not so much
recently.
now that they're older. But it's me that sees quite a lot all the time. It's like I can go past people and I'll say, "Oh, did you have such and such?" And they're like, "What?"
Right.
I can actually tell them I'm quite open kind of thing like that.
No, it sounds like you can pick up on it, right?
Yeah, but from being little, I've always like felt like there was something like around us all the time,
right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of activity in my house, quite a lot.
Well, I tell you, if you're up for it, one night we'll come visit.
Yeah, you can.
Love that, love it. Hey, well, we'll bear you in mind, but thank you very much for calling.
Definitely.
Love the fact that you did. Thanks very much, Julie.
Yeah, thank you.
Great,
Bye.
bye. There you go. Long-time listener. I've just been told in my headphones that she's listened ever since she was a kid with her headphones under the covers, trying for her parents not to find out what she was up to. Great to have her with us. 0191 488 3188. Get to those telephones. And we have Russ, who is in Washington. I think he's got a story for us. Hi, Russ.
Hiya, Alan. Hello, mate.
Hiya. So you got a ghost story for us, I gather.
Well, yeah. I've got a couple of tales to tell you.
Brilliant.
One a ghost story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good lad.
Long time listener, Al.
Thanks, man.
Been a long time, actually. Yeah.
Right.
My dad had a club in Seaham.
Right.
Vane Tempest. I don't know if you know.
Oh no, yeah, played Vane Tempest when I was on the clubs.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Aye.
So I know it very well.
Aye. So back in the day, I mean, we'll go back a lot of years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go back about 30 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I was a little tinker at the time, you know, like all little sprouts off.
Yeah.
And me and my brother used to go and see me there and visit the club and have a bit clot on.
Yeah.
Mess about, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I found out there was a tale of a ghost in this club, and it used to mess around with coins.
Right.
Like, which were, you know, when the tills were being done, and the ball was used to, you know, count all the coins up, and these ghosts used to spill the coins out, you know.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I found this out.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept this in the memory, and my big brother, who I always used to prankster all the time.
Right.
I used to give him some jive all the time, you know. God bless him. He used to hit me. Anyway, he was in charge of checking out the bar in the lounge on the Saturday afternoon.
Right.
And I used to creep up at times, and I thought, okay, if I can catch him counting these coins and then knock them over and then run away, I'm going to... Yeah.
I'm just thinking he's got the whole till to cash up. I bet he was really pleased you did that.
Oh, I was just giving us fun. Well, I wouldn't say fun right now. Yeah. It was...
Funny.
I hope he's not listening. Put it out there.
He's still sticking pins in your doll, probably.
I think he's made a couple of dollars on him, to be honest with you. It was good, so.
I bet.
I want to talk about a little bit about Newcastle.
Okay.
The foundation. I think people have got a massive disagreement with Mike Ashley.
Definitely. Yeah.
This guy has put millions into Newcastle United Football Club.
Yes, absolutely.
Does he not need a little bit of slack? Do you think?
I don't think, as long as the perception, and it is just perception, because let's say Mike Ashley didn't do anything but give money, you know, you don't get into the personal side of his other businesses, because that's his business, literally.
Yeah.
It's how he made the money to be able to afford to input some cash into Newcastle in the first place. If you put that to one side, Mike Ashley actually has done pretty damn well over the years with Newcastle to keep it roughly where it is today. But as soon as Newcastle fans have the perception that with only a couple of key buys, Newcastle could be challenging for titles in Europe and all of that, and instead they're on the slippery slope to head back to the Championship, they're going to say, Is it Steve Bruce's fault? Is it the team's fault? Or is it the person that hired all of them's fault? And it tends to go to the chairman. I can't remember anybody having a good word to say about Mike Ashley in any big way. And yet, John Hall, amazing, brilliant. Who wouldn't want Sir John Hall back again? You know, it's a tough thing to do. And I think there's probably, in all of the divisions, though, I don't think there's any more than maybe 3, 4 directors that the fans love out of all of them. You know, most of them have a bone to pick with the person who's the chairman of your club, because it's that personal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very personal. I'm not blaming anything from COVID or whatever you can put your hands on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with injuries and COVID coming into it, Newcastle United shouldn't be in the position you are right now, and that's from the heart. That's from the heart.
But that is absolutely true. There certainly should be. If you look at the team they've got, though, my worry is, you know, Steve Bruce was a defender. When he came in, I thought, well, the least he'll do is tighten up the defence. And I think we've got one of the sloppiest defences that of any time that I've known Newcastle United. It just doesn't look like a tight unit to me.
Yeah. It's like you said, it is sloppy.
Yeah.
It's especially losing our centre half for a long time.
Yeah,
it couldn't make up again.
Yeah.
So it's worrying times for the two. It's worrying times.
It is, but if you're a supporter of Mike Ashley, though, do you think that fans have been too unfair to him? Is that what you think?
Yeah, I am actually, because he spent £145 million last season on players.
Yeah.
Which people don't realise.
It's a fortune.
When you reckon that up, it's quite a lot of money.
Well, especially at a time when he's got no audience coming in to replenish the pot.
Exactly, yeah. And I reckon with the COVID coming in, he's actually lost out because he hasn't got the crowd input that he would get, which is about £45 million a year, I believe.
Yeah, but I also think, mind you, that a lot of the unsettled fan reaction that he's getting comes from the fact that, I mean, if you go back a year, Newcastle fans were saying, when's Messi joining? When are we getting Ronaldo? Because they thought the sale was on, and all of a sudden every player was a potential black and white. And I think you can't blame fans for getting like, we're getting rid of Mike Ashley, and so all of a sudden, we're not getting rid of Mike Ashley. Everybody's heart sank. And I do have an ounce of sympathy for Mike Ashley. I truly do, because I understand what you say. And he's put his hand in his pocket, and love him or hate him, and a lot of people really hate him. There's an awful lot of people who are directors of football clubs that don't put $1 million a year into their football club, and it's
very true.
You know, if you look at teams in the Championship, I mean, they wouldn't dream of over 100 million this season. They wouldn't make that in 5 seasons. You know, that's the reality of it. So
it's very true. Well, yeah, you're very right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a football fan. I love Newcastle United.
Yeah.
And I follow football through and through. And I'm over the moon today that Sunderland won the day.
Great.
They won that cup.
Uh-huh.
Is it the Mickey Mouse Cup? I don't know what you call it.
I think that if you are in a cup final, because you could say in a Toto Cup, come on, Newcastle's had their moments. Bottom line is you can only win what you're in.
Absolutely correct.
Can't win what you're not in. So let's just face it.
Agree, yeah.
Newcastle could win relegation. Sunderland's won a trophy.
That's flags up on it for Sunderland.
No, but hey, fair dues to them.
I've got a bug over them. Yeah, brilliant, mate.
Anything else while you're on then, Russ?
No, I'm done, bud. I'm good.
Good lad.
Great cracking with you, fella.
And you. Thanks for coming on. Take it easy.
All right, fella.
Bye-bye. And let's just hope that relegation is merely an R word that we don't need to use again. 01914 488 3188. Retaliation. That's the word we should have. Fight back. That's what we should have. James is with us in Anitsford. We know we were talking earlier about things you shouldn't see. I think he's actually getting into that. Hi, James.
Hi, Al. I've got to apologise for me ranting on last time I was on
That's
here
all right,
about
man.
stupid COVID.
Doesn't
You know,
matter.
it just got me.
Knee Bosch. Doesn't matter. What you got
Right.
for me tonight, then?
Right, I've got two things. I've got either what we used to wear in the past and and what you shouldn't see.
Okay.
Well, I know what you shouldn't see. When I fell downstairs, I'll tell you, a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, about 6 months ago or something. It was, I think.
Yeah. This is when you look at a part of your body and it's not pointing the way it should.
You've got 5 fingers and 3 of them were pointing the wrong way.
Oh.
Like they were pointing like right back, you know, like like
that way. I mean,
down south.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Oh. Horrible.
Then a bone was up my wrist, and when I looked at it, I thought. The funny thing is, I couldn't feel nothing. You know, I wasn't drinking or nothing. You know,
Right.
I think it was a shock. What done it?
Well, because you get flooded with adrenaline, and weirdly, it doesn't actually hurt as much as you think, but you're looking at it thinking, I should be going, at the
Well, I did go, I went,
Bet
wait.
you did.
I went, wait.
Yeah, being shocked.
And I just looked at it and I thought, oh my God. Well, it was that bad. It took them 3 days before they can even deal out with it.
Right.
Because I had to get the X-rays, the CTV things on and all that, and the scans. And I had about 12 scans.
Right.
Because they couldn't work out how to put because I'd done 14 bones on.
Blame 14.
I didn't know you had 14 bones. I didn't know you had 14 bones in your arm and your hand.
Maybe you only had 3, but by the time you'd landed, there was 14 of them there.
Oh, it was a shock and a half, man. I don't want to see that again.
No, absolutely not. Awful.
But they reckon they're going to have rheumatoid arthritis in it, though, Alan.
Yeah, well, what they say, and I've had a couple of breaks, but me pinky break, that's the wonky film. If you've ever watched Captain Scarlet, apparently the baddies all have wonky fingers as well, which tells you. So there you go, be careful. But I broke this and fixed it myself with a lolly stick after it was hanging down. And I tied it to that with a lolly stick in between. I didn't tell anybody. I just cracked on, played on the game that I broke it as well, because it was in me glove, so I hadn't realised it had kind of fallen down. However, now, if it's going to snow, it tells me about 2 days before. You get that kind of, and then you go, oh, hell, it's going to snow.
Well, I've had some trouble with my arm, like, because, like, you know, like it's healed now as much as it's going to be.
Right.
But that's a situation now where you push it right up, or the pain just shoots through my hand.
Right.
The arm.
Mind you, it's still early doors, you know, because breaks, it's like years before you really get everything back from a
And
break.
I keep forgetting I've got a bad arm.
Yeah.
Lifting bags of coal and that, you know.
Yeah, but the other thing is that if you know, it's funny because I once went to a doctor with a friend of mine, and he said to the doctor, every time I do that, I get a real, lifting his hand right in the air. He says, I get a real sharp pain there. And the doctor says, well, don't do that then. Thinking, oh, okay. And he didn't do that. It never bothered him. Never again. He just didn't do that.
Oh, well, it was a shock and a half. That was a sight I didn't want to see.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So what else you got then?
Right.
Clothes you mentioned. What was that
Yeah,
about?
back in the day. Can you remember, for them what they ain't now, Oxford bags?
Oh,
and they were like trousers, what didn't have no seam. They were like, if you put your legs together, you would think you're wearing a skirt.
That's exactly right, yeah.
And
I
I used
remember
to
Oxford.
wear-
Did you wear the ones that had the turnips?
Yeah, I did.
There you go, me too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, they had the turnips on. And you had muck and the turnips and everything went out.
Yeah, if ever you dropped your key for the front door, you'd look over the floor, you'd say, it's gone, and then 2 days later you'd find it in the turnip in your trousers.
That's it, like.
Yeah.
And You've got like the brogues, and you had these segs what you used to buy at the shops.
Loved segs.
Yeah, and I used to fill me soul up with these segs. Used to hammer them in with little needles.
Yeah, me too. Do you know, when I used to walk along the street in Benwell, it sounded like the Germans crossing the Rhine.
That's it.
With all the segs on your shoes.
But the trouble is with them, though, and I learned it the hard way, you can't dance with them.
No, and they won't let you.
You couldn't go to this polished floor with them because you would end up on your back.
You would, but on top of that, they started at places even like Newcastle, Mayfair. The bouncers used to stop you at the door and say, lift your foot up, you know, like you were shoeing a horse or something, and you'd hold your shoe up and they go, Segs, get home, get them changed.
That's it.
And they wouldn't let you in there because you'd scrape their lovely sprung floor. Yeah.
And yet, what the Mayfair, they had carpets.
Not on the dance floor, mind. Yeah,
not on the dance floor, they didn't.
Yeah.
But they had carpets. But and the cheesecloth,
sticky carpets they had.
The cheesecloth shirts.
Oh, I love cheesecloth shirts.
You know, they didn't make them anymore, do they?
Well, I always look, wherever I go on the planet, I always look for a cheesecloth shirt, because do you know the thing that even if a cheesecloth shirt fit, you would still end up with the gap. The buttons would just open up and you'd have those little gaps so you could see. And it didn't matter whether it was too big for you. You still got this same damn thing so they could see your chest no matter what was going on.
That's right, because it used to like pull apart, didn't it?
Absolutely.
It was funny, you know these ghost hunt things.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a ghost hunt, but it's really interesting. If you look into the Sun Inn at Bedlington, it's a relation of mine what done a nasty thing like. But I can't see no more. But if you look in the history of it,
right,
it's quite interesting.
I
think
will.
We're going to make a film of it one time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you go. I'm going to get me Gullivers. And you take care.
I will, man. Take it easy. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, well, you see, you have to live these things. Do you know what I mean? These strange and amazing different outfits. And ladies, you've had 1,000 incredible things. You should start sharing a few. Going to have a quick piece of music now. Now, this is the song that Michael Jackson, in the video, should have had jump leads round his neck. Did you watch the Michael Jackson videos? Jump leads round his neck, absolutely. When you hear what song it is, you'll understand.